All right, let's see how this tests.
At Olive Gardens.
Check, check. Check, check. Well, Oh, here we go. Maybe. All right. Oh, there we go.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm good, thanks.
Middleton, I can hear you.
Thank you. What's up?
How you doing, Coach?
Man, I'm great. How about you?
I'm doing good. This is going to be a little bit of a trial and error for me. I'm about to find out because I've never done a major live stream before, so we'll find out.
Well, it's a little different for me too. I'm using. We went out of town, went up to my parents' house, and I'm using his computer, and they didn't have PowerPoint on here, so now I'm kind of having to share a screen. I'm not going to be able to do it like an actual PowerPoint, but I'll have to just scroll down and show you the slides. So
here,
can you see my
screen? I can see your screen. Now? Here, let's try one thing real quick. Click open with Google Slides real quick. And it might give you a little bit of a better option there. So, boom. And then you should be able to just hit slideshow in the top right corner. And I think you might be good to go at that point, Coach.
Hang on. Let me see where it's at.
Yep. Take your time, Coach.
Slide. Where's it at? Slideshow where?
Top right. Or you can go right there in the slide too. If you click slide.
Yeah.
And no wait. Yeah, keep going right. Keep going. And
right here.
Yep. And there you go.
Beautiful.
And then I'll introduce you real quick, which I don't really think you need much introduction compared to me, but
I appreciate it. Yeah. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you and Cam doing this. Like I said, we have, I think, we were at 12 speakers. We're down to 11 because one was really sick.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, as questions pop up in the chat, I'll probably kind of wait for kind of towards the end. I'll give you like a 5-minute warning towards the end.
Okay.
But otherwise, this is kind of your show, and as long as I don't get told that there's errors, we're good. So
I'll set a timer. I'll set a timer too.
You're good because you got people tuning into live stream slowly. There's about a 10-second delay from the live stream to what is on their screen, so it's not bad.
Okay.
So coaches, I'm gonna let Coach get started. I think we're about 3 minutes early, but I don't think anybody's gonna freak out about that. Obviously, Coach Matt Middleton is the quarterbacks and B-backs coach at Harding University, the defending national champion, the defending Division II national champions. Geez. So it's a pleasure to have them start off. And Coach is going to talk about offense efficiency and field position. Coach, the floor is yours.
Hey, guys. Can everybody hear me? All right. I should be good. Can you hear me, Coach?
Yes, I can hear you. You're good to go, Coach.
All right. First of all, thanks, guys, for having me on. When I was reached out about talking, Coach Purvis, we talked about several things, but really how I want to start, I know there's going to be a whole lot of X's and O's that are going to be talked about during this day, but my biggest deal is really where we're at, how we consider offensive efficiency and why field position is so important to us because it goes hand in hand, and we'll talk about a lot of that different stuff. But here's probably one of my coolest charts. This has been a study over 6 years of FCS and FBS of what we actually consider odds of scoring. So when you look at the actual football field, you can see it. As you're backed up inside your 10, you have a 1 in 30 chance to score a touchdown. If you're between your 10 and 20, you're 1 in 15. And then 20 to 30, 1 in 8, and you can see how it goes once you cross midfield and all those things. So, when you're calling a football game, it's massively important to understand, A, you're trying to score, but also trying to prolong or keep a drive going where you can punt down the opposing offense when they come out inside backed up territory, because the odds of them scoring are extremely down. To give you a little bit of background, this is my first year since 2003 to not call plays. I was a college coach for 14 years, and I was a head high school coach for several, which is how I know a lot of these guys on here. And then it really just been back in the last year. So when we look at these things, that's what all that means. These are our drives for Harding this past season, which they're skewed. I'm going to be honest with you. We had a lot of success. So if you take that same template of actual what is expected and what we did, you can see how high we are in the actual scoring percentage. So, for instance, 0 to 10 yards backed up, you're really only supposed to have a 1 in 30 chance to score. We had 15 drives. We scored 8 touchdowns on 15 drives, which is unheard of. So 53% of the time we scored. You're not supposed to do that. You can see the next one, 10 to 20, 1 out of 15 is expected. We scored 10 out of 13 times. And then the minus 20 to minus 30, supposed to score 1 out of 8 times. We were 28 out of 39 drives. And you can see how all that goes down. So I do know our numbers are pretty skewed because we had a lot of success. So we've probably scored a good bit. Well, we actually scored a good bit more than the normal average team. So our percentages are much higher. Now this, I don't really want to name a name, but this is an average 5-6 team in the Great American Conference offensive football team with a 6-5 record. This shows you the difference in how these numbers work. They're backed up 0 to 10 yards. Expected scoring percentage supposed to be 1 out of 30. They were actually 1 out of 10. So their efficiency was, if you broke that out, they would score 3 out of 30 times. And then you can see how the numbers have changed drastically on that, but it's still a pretty good offensive scoring football team, because you can see in every category what's expected and what is the actual. They were ahead in all those, which kind of explains being 6-5 and where you're at, and those things in scoring. Here's kind of how we measure an efficiency scale for us. And I'm sure a lot of you guys do the same thing. But obviously first down, and it should be in most offenses, but in ours, first down is everything. So we try to win on first down, period, in discussion, because we know that we want to get 4+ yards on first down. And basically that gives us second down to cut the difference in half. So if on first down we got 4 yards, that's a win. That means we have 6 remaining yards, but we essentially have 2 extra downs. Now us, we're a huge fourth down team. Fourth down's another down to us for the most part. So for a lot of you guys, might not be that way, but if you're super efficient on first down, you get 4+ yards, then you're ahead of the efficiency scale to be able to split the difference on what is left. So obviously you can adjust the criteria as you see necessary, however you want to do that. But these are how we break it down. So for instance, on first down, we get 4+ yards. Second down, we want to get at least half the distance of what's left. Third down, obviously want to pick up the first down. And then fourth down is just another type down for us. This is probably a really cool stat. This is our actual Harding scoring efficiency. And what I'm getting at is of why first downs are so important in a series is the way we broke it down, or what we actually had this year. And I understand we had success doing it. But if we got 4 yards, 4+ yards on the first play of every series, we scored touchdowns 79% of the time, which goes all the way back again to why first down is such a big deal in a play calling spectrum. It doesn't really matter if you're split back veer, if you're I veer, if you're flexbone, if you're spread, whatever it is, first down tells us everything. If we got 1 first down in a series, so not only did we get 4+ yards, but if we got the first down, the first down in the series, we scored TDs 76.7% of the time. Now here's what stopped those. We had 7 fumbles and 2 penalties on what I would consider scoring drives or opportunities to score. So if you really look at that from this perspective, if you got 1 first down in a series and we played clean, which means no fumbles, no penalties, we scored TDs 83.3% of the time, which is kind of cool when you look at it. So you can look and say we scored on 70% of our total drives and TDs, which is 63%. We had 139 total drives in 15 games. I know that's a lot, but again, it goes back to this: winning on first down. Your first down call has got to be a phenomenal play call in whatever offense you're running. And our offense, I bet if you took our 15 games, I bet 13 of those games we started every single game or a play with zone dive, because we didn't necessarily know what front we would get. We knew we could double an interior guy and get yardage. That was a big deal for us. So again, that being such a high percentage efficiency play for us is why we went first down a lot. Now, if you guys broke us down, you'd say, well, I know what they're running. And you probably would. But that's why it was such a big deal for us to be able to do that. This is my next opinion. We talk about running the football, being flexbone, and all these things. It's kind of comical. 15 games this year, we threw the ball 58 times, which is kind of a wow factor, But we still hold true to this. To become more efficient, I don't care if you throw 58 times the year, which is 4 times a game, you throw it 10 or 15. You have to maintain a passing completion percentage of at least 65% or greater. Because when you are running option-oriented football, your throws are big plays or explosive plays, which is a fake crack seam up the middle of the field. So those are really huge because we're not dink and danking. We're taking shots off of play action, which is why you've really got to maintain that. And the next thing is develop a run game that picks up the necessary yardage on critical downs. What are you good at? What is your team good at? And I think so many times, and I'll talk about this later in the presentation, it's as a coach, and I did this for years, I like this call, but my quarterback might like something else. And again, you've got to develop a run game in the mindset that he's good at reading things and what he does well, and make sure that you're putting your offense in a position to be successful. It's one of these things, again, you can adjust this to however you feel necessary that you're trying to accomplish. Some of you guys might say 70% completion percentage or 75, depending on what's involved. Ours were so many down the field chunk throws that they weren't always a high percentage completion play, which is why we did that. But I think it changes your perspective on the content you have within your playbook. And the amount of calls that you carry from game to game, and really the strengths and weaknesses of your personnel. And again, I put this at the bottom of it, especially at the quarterback position. We all know we have guys, whether we're a heavy run or not, that have to throw the football adequately to be successful. But there are certain things they throw well and certain things they don't. It's our job, really, as an offensive staff, to make sure we're putting those guys in a situation to have these two main factors to be more efficient. Here's kind of another cool track. And again, I know we're heavy run teams who we're talking to on here, but I still think this really correlates. And it's of the 2022 FBS teams, only 19 starting quarterbacks, and I know there's more than 120 that actually competed. Of 120 teams, completed the ball at a rate of 65% or more. Now, I know that's spread, that's RPO. There wasn't one of us type system in this. I mean, you could throw somewhat of Navy and Army in that picture, but that's only 16% of all FBS quarterbacks. So of those 19 quarterbacks, their team averaged 10-3 overall record with a win percentage at 769, which is pretty high. So to further what I'm saying, the top 5 scoring offenses in the country, 4 of them had quarterbacks who completed the ball above 65%. I do believe there's direct correlation between completion percentage and the success of production on offense, no matter what offense you run. Because we know it's happened to us. I played at West Monroe High School growing up. In Louisiana, for you guys are on here, was a dominant dynasty for years. They're not anymore. But the reality was, if we were ahead of the sticks or on the scoreboard, chances of us winning were great. If we were behind because we didn't throw the ball a lick, if we were behind, the chances of us coming back were slim and none. And that's why I believe no matter how many times you throw it, your completion percentage has got to be in that percentage for you to be able to throw the football when you need to get when the safeties are running alleys to take pitch to hit them over the top. Then obviously when it comes to run game, I've always believed you don't have to run the football all the time to have success. But I got news for you. I don't care if it's NFL, FBS national championship, Division II, high school, whatever. The teams that run the football and run it well win championships. So I believe you got to be able to run the football and run it well, no matter what system you're running. So the important thing, I think, really here is to measure your play calls in small, attainable goals, such as how efficient we are by down and distance, which goes back to first down. We want to get 4+ yards. What's my best option call? And you sit there and go, well, Coach, you just said we do zone dive the majority of the time. We do, because we don't necessarily know what front we're going to get early. And what we really don't want to do is put a quarterback in a bind to read triple or mid triple or read where crazy things can happen with a bad pitch or a misread, and then we're behind the sticks, because we know how difficult that can be. This is what I believe: 5 steps to becoming more efficient. Determine your strengths of your quarterback. And you're sitting there going, well, what does that mean? That doesn't mean throwing the football necessarily. That means, what does he read well? What does he do well? Perfect example, several years before I got here, they made a deep run in the playoffs. They had a guy that really, really, really struggled with reading triple. But he was a mid-triple guy, midline guy that did well. So they limited how many play calls they had from true triple. So what is he good at? And then as an offense, really determine what you're best at. You know, what, and we all know this. I mean, I was a high school coach. From year to year, you're changing based off your personnel a lot of times. Now, that doesn't mean you necessarily change your skill, but one year you might have a quarterback that's much better than the next one at doing certain things. So determine what you're best at. And then also condense your game plan. I'll admit it. I was a spread guy for a ton of years. I had bukus of calls. And then what you realize is when you get in the game, you don't call much. And then 2015 and 16, I went to the Flexbone, had more success as a high school coach doing that than I had done anything else. And basically it's the same as we do at Harding. It was the Harding system. It was, what we called the big 5 plays, and we had like 2 wrinkles. We ran 7 plays in a play action, and we were really good at it. So if you look at what we do now, we're the D2 national champions, and we run less than 10 plays. Sounds crazy, but that's the truth. So condense your game plan and find out what you're good at. And here's the next deal: script between series. Like the way we call plays is every one of us has our eyes on something. So for instance, in a game, as we're calling plays, we're finding out, okay, what was the defense in before that? So a perfect example would be in when we call plays, my job as a quarterback V-back coach is I'm watching interior backers, and I'm tracking, are they following the V-back? What are they doing? And then our receiver coach is watching the corners. And then our slot coach is watching the safeties, because are they reading the safeties or are they not? And then our play caller tries to get the up front, or our O-line calls the up front, and then our coordinator tries to get a feel on the back end. How do we do that? We talk about everything between series. Now, I know it's hard at high school because you might be coaching both ways. How do you do this? It's have answers that you think you're going to see possibly the next series. And we all know, us that run the option, I call it the flavor of the week. You never know what you're really going to get, but you got to do a really good job between series of trying to find those things out. And then create a halftime checklist. What were we good at? What did we do? What did we do well? What were we bad at? Okay, that's out. What adjustments have they made to us, and what adjustments do we need to make? But halftime is huge as a coaching staff to talk about these things. Then determining strengths of your quarterback. We talked about this earlier. Evaluate him. What does he feel the most comfortable with? And how do we determine his best skill sets within the offense that we're running? Whether it's, I know Coach Purvis and them run split back veer. We're Flexbone. I know we got some gun wing people. I know we got a lot of that. Okay, what do you do within that? And then by knowing what he's good at or strengths at, then that helps identify the calls that I should or we should make that complement his strengths. Just like I talked about earlier, simply put, don't call things he isn't good at. Then determine as a team what you're best at. We talked about that earlier, whether win or lose. First things we look at after a game is completion percentage, turnovers, and our efficiency breakdown. Because we're going to run the football and we're going to run it well. But how were we in those efficiency goals of being able to do that? And then the difference in us, a lot of times winning big or not, is did we complete those big bomb throws down the field, which were play action shots, for that percentage. I don't care about how many yards we throw for. I really don't even care about how many rushing touchdowns we had. I just want to know if we put our quarterback, and more specifically our offense, in position for success. Because is he reading well? Or they start in a 3. Then they move to a 2-eye. Then they move to a shade. Are we reading well? Who's walked up on the line of scrimmage? Who's he pitching off of? What did he do well? And then I want to know what calls we made during the course of the game that were consistent with what we prepared for. And then did we play into the strengths of our personnel? And then the third one we just talked about was condense your game plan. Less is more. I believe it. I don't know. Maybe it's in simplicity of what we do. Be good at what you do. If you're a jack of all trades, you're masters of none. I went through that a lot of times in years of me thinking I had the answers. But the reality is, if you're really good at the few things you do, then you're going to be pretty special. And again, I'm continually amazed at how few plays we actually run. With a game week, we constantly evaluate the comfort our kids feel with what looks we feel like we were going to get, any adjustments we made to existing plays or wrinkles. At Harding, we're huge on tags. We run our base stuff, but then we tag like blocking schemes on the perimeter. That's a difference for us. What do? If we didn't execute those at a high level, chunk them, scrap them. Focus instead on what generates high efficiency within your offense. And this is really talking to myself for years of what we've done is you can't be prideful with what you want to run as a coach. It's always about the players on the field and whether or not they can perform their responsibility. How do they do that? It's being simple. The KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. I know that sounds crazy, but especially coaching high school as many years as I did, you don't have all these long meeting times and all this. You gotta be able to coach on the fly and have all these availabilities to get that stuff done and for them to understand what you're doing. And then number 4, script between plays. That's how you keep up with what you're calling. You might have somebody scripting what you did, and then here's the formations I want to look at, not necessarily plays. Again, we draft sometimes 4 or 5 play script while you're on the field. Well, you sit there and say, well, how do you do that? The defense doesn't give you that. Well, it's more formations than anything. And the biggest thing is keep your emotions in check. Make sure you're hitting the best calls from your game plan per series. Y'all know as play callers, it gets hard. And you're like, man, I wish I would have called that play. Man, I meant to call that play. This is how you keep up with that. Also gives your quarterback a chance to be in rhythm throughout the game. And then gives you the opportunity to communicate to the offense before they take the field. And then what calls to expect. And then create the halftime checklist is really, this will give you a better picture of what you accomplished in the first half. And then what adjustments we need to make, what calls we did make, and what we still have on the shelf and what we hadn't done. What's effective and ineffective. One of the things we track is how many first downs in a quarter. This helps us identify run-pass ratio if we're calling a game that is helping us maintain efficiency on a first down. This impacts our effectiveness on all other downs. And then the goal, and this is really it before we get to questions, but the biggest deal is the goal for every program is to continue to close the gap by taking another step towards becoming the best you possibly can be. And this is what I told the offensive unit in our first meeting before the season. Going from good to great in any level of football. I don't care if it's major college football, small college, high school, small high school, junior high. Going from good to great in any level of football is as small of a gap as there is. But it is often the most challenging to overcome. The difference to me is not reinventing yourself. It's really becoming better and more efficient at what you already do. So a perfect example, A year ago, we didn't get the playoffs. We're 9-2. They'd made a playoff run the year before, got to the quarters. They've won a lot of games here. What puts us over the top? What made us win the national championship this year? Obviously, a lot of luck comes along with that. We won 2 one-point games in the playoffs. I get it, but we condensed a whole lot of what we did, and we threw a whole bunch of stuff out. It's kind of comical if you go back and you watch what we did when I told you we did less than 10 things, and we were just really, really good at. So, that's kind of the fast forward of trying to get this in 25 minutes of telling you guys. I think efficiency is huge. I think that's how you judge how your offense is preparing and what you do and your success. And if there's one thing that you take from any of this is first down is the down that matters, that gives you a chance to be successful. And then getting a first down in the first series sets you up to be able to drive down the field and score, whether it's kick a field goal or not. And if you don't score, be able to sustain drives to put you in a situation where you can punt the football and back the opposing offense up when they come out, backed up inside their 20 because you saw the stats and numbers of the expectation of what it is for them to score. So field position is massive in being successful on offense and really any football team. Any questions?
Well, I got a couple here. I'll do the funny one first. How much did Coach Purvis pay you for you to say nice things about him? That's the first.
Nothing. He didn't do anything. I'm familiar with that area, so I kind of know. I've known him a long time, does a good job, and I love watching those guys. In our area, he'll tell you there's not a lot of people that run the option anymore, so you kind of identify who those guys are.
Okay, the first, and I'm just looking at our stream here, is regarding your 65% completion percentage goal.
Yep.
Do you set a target or want a minimum yard per catch average?
Yep. So here's our deal, and I wish we did more. We could throw hitches and slants all day long, and people give it to us. We're trying to get there. I wish we could. Our completion percentage, I'll be honest with you, is all off of naked boots, off a rocket toss, or down the field fake cracks on inside veer. So I'll tell you, on average of our long, what we call Wisconsin deep throw, the ball is caught between 26 and 31 yards on average in the air. And that's because the safety's running the alley, receiver goes a crack, he slips. But here's my deal. If you go back out of 58 balls that we threw almost 15 touchdowns. And we didn't complete. Now, here's the kicker. We didn't complete 30 balls. And that's wild to say, but that's why it's so efficient to complete those big balls.
Yeah. And then and again, coaches that are jumping in and out, like don't hesitate to ask questions. But how much freedom do you, your head coach, and the offensive staff give your quarterbacks to either audible or flip the plays according to what he's seeing, whether it's run or pass?
So pretty wild. I grew up. I played for Showers, West Monroe. We checked everything in the line of scrimmage. We don't let our kids check anything. We do 100% check with me. So you say we're no huddle, but we're still going to snap the ball with 3 to 4 seconds left. But the reality is we're doing all that for him. Now, we might give him a tag or two, but he's not checking out of the plays. We as coaches from up top are trying to get him the best possible play call to do that. I know that's different in option football, but that works best for us because then it allows him to see his read key, his 1, his 2, his 3. Yeah. His read key, his pitch key, whatever else versus, okay, I got to get in this look. I got to do this because a big thing that we get is shifts in movement versus us. So if he gets the first peak, then it's a movement. So we try to take that out of him. So to be honest with you, we're ultra vanilla with what we allow him to do.
Okay. Perfect, Coach. And I think that's it on the questions, which actually leaves us at perfect time.
Good.
So coaches, don't hesitate to reach out to Coach.
Yeah, reach out to me. Yeah.
I know I tagged you earlier. His Twitter is @MattyMid3. So you can easily, And then I know very well the Harding staff, if you reach out to any of them, are all absolutely fantastic. Yep.
Absolutely.
And that's not just like true to Southern people. I mean, you guys go around the country, talk and help out coaches. So again,
we just love to talk ball. So anybody needs any help, give me a call. I'd love to do it. So,
well, perfect, Coach. I appreciate you. And I mean, you can either stay on this call or jump off. It's up to you.
Okay.
And then, wait. Nope. That's just a comment saying you did a great job. Okay. So
thank y'all very much. I appreciate you guys. And if there's anything I can do, great. I really am more excited about you guys and doing this because it's going to be a heck of a day talking about ground and pound and getting after it. So thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, Coach. All right, coaches, we're going to kind of head on to our next speaker here. He's already logged in, so that kind of makes my life easy. He can go ahead and Coach. I don't know if Coach Wilson stepped away for a second or not. And I'm going to click Ask to unmute.
No, I'm here.
Okay. And you can share your screen whenever you're ready, Coach. So while I do all the intro BS that I have to do. But I do appreciate you doing this. And I know Coach Purvis and Coach Ridgway are both watching. Let me pull up my thing so I make sure I get all my stuff correctly while you set it up. I think we've started off really good. I know we've had over, I believe when I checked very briefly, I think we're over like 160 different people have been on and off so far. But Coach Wilson is going to talk about really just being a very good assistant and having aspirations as a head coach. He is come very highly recommended from my two Louisiana friends, and I'm looking forward to listening to this. And I don't think I really have anything else in terms of a deal. Coaches, like I said, keep asking questions in the comments below. If you want to share the link with anybody, share the link with anybody. But the up next is the run game corner at North Desoto High School in Louisiana. Coach Christopher Wilson. Coach, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, man. First off, man, I want to appreciate the recommendation. I've pretty much here in Louisiana given the I've assumed the title of helping coaches become coaches. Being a coach is something I've always been passionate about. This is the only thing I've ever wanted to do. I've wanted to coach since I was in the second grade. So, having the opportunity to now kind of take the things that I've experienced in my short coaching career, this is only year 15 for me, and helping guys all over the country, really trying to get their feet in and be a listening ear is something that I've pride myself on being. So like you said, I'm Christopher Wilson. I'm the run game coordinator at North Desoto High School in about 20 minutes south of Shreveport. This is finished up my second year there, and the 2 years I've been there, we had a record of 23-4, a state championship runner-up, and a semifinal appearance this past season. And so here's how you contact me. I'm Mr. Coach Wilson on everything. If you type in Mr. Coach Wilson, you put it all together. That's pretty much where you'll find me. And I've given my phone number as well so that, if you find me on Twitter, if you've already seen me on Twitter, I'm talking coach stuff or talking about my kids. If it's quiet in my house, it's because we just my twins just had their first birthday party, so we're still kind of winding down from that. So to get into it, again, dream chasing with purpose, being about balance and being a quality assistant with having head coach aspirations. Just real quick rundown of my career. So I started my career fresh out of college at Green Oaks, and I was there for 6 years. We had 5 head coaches in 6 years. So if you're what kind of got me on this path was being accustomed to turnover. My very first year, we had a legend, a Grambling Hall of Famer, Steve Dennis, and I was standing next to him on the sideline, and he said, "Chris, I'm done. Y'all can have it. I'm going to give it. This is a young guy's game. I'm old. I'm tired." And then we had a guy come in from out of town. He was there for 2. And then the next year we had a guy every year. So getting accustomed to transitioning, after about those 6 years, I was ready to kind of strike out on my own. I was being baby brother to everyone. So I went over to BTW and I served as a co-offensive coordinator. An opportunity came up to work for one of the best guys in our area, Mike Green with an E, and Fair Park to be his offensive coordinator. And I was falling in love with the place. We find out in April, they're shutting the school down. So we have to pack up everything. We end up back at BTW for a year. Coach Green's father passes away. He kind of gives me the keys to the ship. I'm running the program. Everything goes well. I go to talk to the principal at the time. I asked her, there hadn't been an interview process, hadn't been anything put in place. I'm running the program. I asked her, am I going to be able to take over as the interim into the next season? And she said, don't pass up a for sure opportunity for maybe. And I took that as my key to leave. So I ended up getting an opportunity at Mansfield. I served there for 2 years as the offensive line coach, right-hand man to the head coach and the head baseball coach. Then COVID hit. And Plain Dillon called and it gave me an opportunity, really, really small town. I was the head coach there for 2 seasons. We never dressed more than 20 kids in a year. We played 8 games. The COVID year, made the playoffs at 3-5. I tested positive for COVID the Saturday after the game. So we had to opt out of the playoffs. And then the next year, we had a decent group of seniors that year. We dressed about 18 kids all year. We made the playoffs at 2-8. And then got, knocked out of the playoffs. And so after that, I was kind of drained and I wanted a fresh start. I wanted an opportunity to compete. I got an opportunity with Dennis Dunn. And if you're familiar with Dennis Dunn, he was the head coach at Evangel in the 90s, 8 state championships. You name it, he's done it. And he said that he wanted somebody like me on his staff. And I felt it was flattering. And knowing his history, there really hasn't been a guy like me to serve on his staff. So the first year I was offensive line coach. Last year I was a running back coach, and I've had the title of quote unquote run game coordinator. So, these are the questions that I ask all my coaching friends when they contact me and they ask me, about being an assistant and wanting to be a head coach. Why do you want to be a head coach? What is it about that position that gets you excited? Well, for me, it's just the tone setting process of being a head coach that excites me. I love watching my head coach right now set the tone for the team every day, set the tone for the coaching staff every day, having guys excited to work under him, to serve him, and being a quality assistant. I think that comes from being under a head coach that loves people, understands that kids are the lifeblood of what we do, and making sure that we put kids in a position to be great, not only on the field, but in life as well. Are you working under coaches that will make you better? Are we settling? Are we taking any opportunity that comes across our desk? Are we front runners? Do we want to only work in programs that win? I didn't win. I didn't have a winning season until my 11th year coaching. My first year at Mansfield, we went 8-4, and that was the first time I made the playoffs. And I had coached 100 games as an assistant. So, being able to work in struggle, being able to work where you don't have the amenities, you don't have the money, you don't have the athletes, are things that will make you better going forward. Can you develop the attributes that head coaches need? You have seen, if you're working under good guys, you know what they do well, you know what they don't do well. Are you developing those attributes? Are you making sure that you're putting yourself in a position to be the coach that you aspire to be? And then once you get those questions asked, what kind of head coach are you? Are you a CEO that's going to delegate? You empower your assistants to work. You give them the tools that they need and you turn them loose. You let them go. Are you a scheme genius? Are you an offensive juggernaut? Are you a defensive juggernaut? Which one of those things do you do well? I wanted to become a better special teams coach after being a head coach. I was an offensive line guy. I was a run game guy. That's what excited me about this clinic to begin with. Because even though we're in the spread, be able to listen to guys that will get it done on the ground excites me. So are you one of those guys who are just an expert in their respective field, and you kind of turn everything else that doesn't apply to what you do well, you turn that over? Are you a rah-rah guy? Are you the head of the line, jump around, high five? Are you that guy? Are you super stoic? Or are you the know-it-all, do-it-all? You don't let your assistants do anything. You do it all yourself. You burn out quick. You bounce around to a lot of places as the head coach, but you still get the results. So those are the questions that I like to ask my friends, just to get them in the process of, really starting to do some self-analyzation and figure out what it is exactly, why you want to be in that position. So I kind of gave you a few steps, or maybe 5 steps. So step 1, easy. Man, do your job. You are an assistant. And as being a head coach and going back to being an assistant, that was one of those things where you're used to having the power, you're used to setting the tone, you're used to all of the kids kind of eating out of your palm, and now you no longer have that responsibility. It didn't take me long to get back in the groove of being a head coach, because I told Coach Dunn and I told the offensive coordinator, Matt Parker, that I'm coming to serve you. Whatever you guys need me to do, I'm there to do. Whatever you ask me to do, that's what I'm here to do. So you make that your priority. You ensure that you're upholding your responsibilities while in season, while in off season. My head coach comes by my classroom every week. He drops off some papers. Hey, Chris, I need this filled out. Get this back to me. Hey, Chris, do you have the stats? Hey, what about this kid? Which all-state team did he make? And I'm responsible for all of that. So, making sure you're serving your coach. Number 2, pay attention. Pay attention. Find the things that in the current program you can adapt to your future and vice versa. We don't all do it right all the time. We don't all put our kids or ourselves in a position to be great all the time. And those things are things that you kind of log and you put it in mental notes, or you keep your iPhone notes and you do those things handy. You keep those things handy and available to you to make sure that you are you're writing these things down and making mental notes. And then number 3, be the assistant you want as a head coach. Loyalty over everything. Move in the same direction as the head coach's vision, even if you do not agree. That's what those weekend coaches meetings are for. But when you step out of that field house or that locker room on Monday morning or Monday afternoon for practice, you need to be on the same page. And if you do your job well, if you take pride in being a quality assistant, good things are going to happen for you and to the kids that you serve. Step 2, on-the-job training. Be an assistant. Be the head coach of your position group. Practice. Getting to North Desoto was a program who I've only coached at inner city schools. Inner city, 85-90% Black schools. And the North Desoto football program is the opposite of that. Maybe 90% white. So being able to come in and be myself and coach a group of kids who embodied who I was as a man, embodied who I was as a person, and to love the game as much as I do, is what you do with your position group. You develop traits of leadership that translate to the kid. You develop traits of leadership that translate to the coaches around you. You don't have to be the head coach to be in a leadership position based off how you conduct yourself on a day-to-day basis. And one thing I tried to do coming in, being that I'm one of the older coaches on the staff, even at 38 years old, was being that we have some younger coaches, to be a guide and to be a model of what they should be. Being humble. Again, I serve my head coach. And if Coach Dunn lights into me, you respect it, you take it, and you keep it moving. You don't wear your feelings on your sleeves. You do your job. And you stay humble and make sure that you're doing what you need to do in order for you to get better for yourself. Adding tools to your tool chest. Find ways to improve your arsenal. I've always coached offensive line. This year I coached running backs. We had 2 all-state guys. Being able to take yourself out of it, I think that goes back to being humble. Making sure that you're putting yourself in a position to learn as much as you can while you don't have the responsibility of leading. That if you're not good in the pass game, then you get around the quarterback coach and the wide receiver, you learn it. If you're not good at special teams, you absorb that information from special teams coaches in order for you to get better. And then still experience. So off the field, what are the off the field responsibilities that you're not good at? Are you not good at stats? Are you not good at social media? Are you not good at communicating? Are you not good at dealing with the parents and dealing with the community? Find ways to get that experience. I've had head coaches that will let us sit in the parent meeting, sit in the booster club meeting, help him do paperwork. And so that those opportunities are those things that we may not think about as an assistant. We're getting the opportunity to do those things on a day-to-day basis, and we're in making sure that we are prepared for the leadership position that we seek. Step 3, communicate. Be transparent, y'all. Be upfront with your head coach and administrator if you're making progress. You know, we have jobs that come open, coaches, and, you know, we have the different job boards and football scoop and things of the nature. I wouldn't necessarily tell my boss that, hey, I'm applying to this job. You know, we can send an application in, you can send an email over, and all of that stuff is fine and well. And, you know, a lot of times those positions are done before they open. But if you get an interview or you get an opportunity to interview, or you feel like things are trending in the right direction, give your principal, give your head coach a heads up. Hey, listen, things are popping off in a positive direction. You know, so if they call you, be prepared. This is what I'm doing. And I think that closes that gap because, you know, we have a lot of coaches, a lot of head coaches that really don't want their coaches to move. You know, you get a good group, you want to hoard those guys to yourself, and you want to make sure that you're keeping your group together for selfish reasons. But if you do have guys, and if you are a guy that has those aspirations, to make sure that you're being upfront and letting them know from the beginning. I let my head coach know that I wanted to be a head coach again, and I wanted to be a head coach again sooner than later. So I expressed my aspirations from the jump. So I didn't want anybody to have any misconceived notions about me. And to make sure that everybody was on the up and up in the event that I did get another opportunity. And then, you know, don't be afraid to chase your dreams. You know, the coaching game is getting younger. We're seeing a lot of the older guys, you know, get tired of the way that the kids are and the parents are, and they're getting out of the game and it's going younger. So don't pigeonhole yourself to a position just for the sake of saying, well, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings by leaving. You know, I know I'm good at where I'm at right now, but I want more, but I'm afraid to talk about it. I don't know how to respond. You know, be upfront and honest with yourself first and foremost to make sure that, hey, coaches, look, you know, I've been here 4 or 5 years now. I want more. I'm striving for more. I'm preparing myself for more, and to make sure you're putting yourself in a position to achieve more. Step 4, organize your business. You are your own personal brand. And I think this is what has gotten the attention of my colleagues in the field. I am my own brand. I have positioned myself to be a person who is vocal about the coaching moves. Anybody can talk scheme. You know, that's why I'm honored that I'm here talking about this, because I'm listening to Coach Middleton, and I've met him a couple times, and dude's a genius. And that you know, but what a lot of people don't like to talk about is the business side. And I feel like I've gotten pretty good at the business side in the midst of these the failure, so to speak. I before I got the job at Plainville, and I think I interviewed about 13 different times for different positions in the Shreveport-Bossier area and struck out every time. And so, you know, with failure comes the best education. Constantly update your resume, your cover letter, your portfolio. If you haven't started building a portfolio, there are guys that do it. It costs a pretty penny. Chris Parker and Chris Ford on social media have been great for me. They're always willing to contact. They're always willing to communicate with you to help you get your business in order so that you can market yourself. This is your opportunity to brag on yourself. You go to these clinics, you go travel, you shake hands, you meet people, get your name out there in a positive manner while still representing your school where you're currently employed at in the right way. Because that's going to carry, because you never know who knows somebody. So if you're in a clinic, if you're bashing your employer and you're talking negatively about them or the school or the kids, that's going to get back, and that's going to put you in a position to where you wonder, why am I not able to move, right? And so I have created for myself 2 different resume styles. And if they ask for something more colorful, this is something that I threw together for myself. Where, we get to the point. These are places that I've been. I'm just giving you the title. Then the next page was just a brief snapshot of the things that I've done at the school. And you have to, and so, people say, well, why do you put your record from your plain dealing years? Because I don't know how many people have coached a program with 20 kids in the program, dressing 5 7th graders in that 20, and still finding a way to win 5 games in 2 years. Still qualifying for the playoffs in those 2 years. And we did some really good things. So I pride myself on those 5 wins, because it is very hard to run a program and have aspirations to win when you are not dressing the kids that are needed in order for you to be successful. And then parlaying that into a position at a school like North Desoto, where we have experienced the success that we have in the last 2 years. And that's a testament to the coaching staff and to the kids all getting under the same banner and everybody moving in the same direction. And then your last step, seal the deal. You promote yourself, you interview, you kill it. They offer you the job. You can't start until later. Now it's time for you to close those doors of where you're at. Everything that you're responsible for completing before you leave, whether it was a 3-month timeline or a 2-week timeline, you leave that stuff better than where you found it. You get everything done that you need to get done, because the guy that comes in and takes your place, or the assistant coaches that are left to pick up the pieces, will come in, and you want that program to flow seamlessly upon your departure, right? And I think, again, that goes back to being a quality human being. If you put in a 2-week notice, that's not the time for you to shut down and not do anything and just start turning your attention to the next place. That 2-week notice is you to close up the gaps of the things that you were currently doing at your school. So you're closing out all of your incomplete tasks. You're having the conversations with the kids that you feel the need to discuss. You're having a debriefing with your head coach, or your offensive coordinator will be in my case, because he's my superior, and just talking about, I've always wanted to know what have I done that needs work? Where can I get better? What are some things that I did well that I can tweak a little bit to take to this new place? Because as you see, and like I said, I've moved around a lot. And I was chasing opportunities. I wanted to be an offensive coordinator. I wanted to be a head coach. I've been a head coach for 4 different sports in these 15 years, football, baseball, basketball. I'm head powerlifting coach now. And so I've been able to take those pieces from all of those things and kind of create a scheme, if you will, in my head of how I want things to go. But for the people that watch you every day, the people that work with you every day, they're going to provide you a different perspective of who you are and what it is you need to do in order for you to be successful at the next spot. And so that's sealing the deal to me, is cleaning up and making sure you got everything taken care of, and leaving your spot where you are in a positive light. Because if you've done it right, if you've been a quality assistant, you're going to leave a hole when you leave. I've hated to see coaches leave staff that I was on and the kids rejoice. Man, I'm so glad he gone. Man, he was the worst. And then all the truth comes out about how they felt about the person. And I wanted to make sure that in my movement, that when I left, the kids were upset. The kids' feelings were hurt. How can you leave me? That would let me know that you're doing things in the right way, in the right manner. Just to, again, to ensure that you, as a person, as a coach, as a man, are doing things the right way and walking in the right direction. Okay, so like I said, I wanted to leave some time, for transition. I want to leave some time for questions. So again, yes, I got my face as a cartoon, because again, nobody can promote me better than I can. Nobody can brand myself better than I can. So, I've kind of taken, this goofy picture that I took that a friend turned into a cartoon, man, and kind of made it my thing. So I appreciate you guys' time. And if you have any questions for me, feel free. if, follow me on Twitter, send me DMs, email me anytime. I also can create those snapshots and things of that nature, so, just be a quality man, be a quality coach, serve your kids first. That's the most important thing. If you're not about the kids, you're in the wrong profession. And I've given my life to these kids and to building the game of football in the right direction for the Shreveport-Bossier area. And hopefully throughout with this opportunity, expanding my brand and expanding my quote unquote expertise to the coaches around the nation. So you guys, I appreciate your time.
Well, Coach, I appreciate. I do got because I know you're using, I think, Canva for this, anyways. So
correct.
And like I said, you mentioned Coach 4 on there. How much are you using stuff like Canva and other graphics to help promote yourself? Because obviously this is and promote the program you're working for. Because I use obviously I'm a head coach and I use a lot of various graphic stuff, but Canva particularly to help make graphics for our program and our kids. How much are you using stuff like that to help not only promote yourself, but promote the program that you're using?
That's what I use. I use Canva primarily. When I was at Mansfield, I found Snapseed, and Snapseed was really, really basic. But when my wife introduced me to Canva, I started tinkering with it, and I got to the point where I felt like I was producing quality content. And so when I got over to North Desoto, they said, well, hey, we saw you on social media. We know you're good at social media. Here's our social media. Go have fun. and that's pretty much how it went. So from the schedules, from the all district selections, from if the kids want anything done specifically or personally, I do all of that on Canva. And I want them to feel comfortable enough with me to say, hey, coach, here's my 3 best pictures. Go make something happen for me. I've done this past year, we did a prospect flip book, kind of like this presentation, with their huddle QR codes on it, stats, any accolades that they received throughout the year. And we signed 6 kids this year. And I would like to think that presentation kind of helped them, because everything that they needed for that kid, for his recruitables, his measurements were all on that slide. So,
okay.
So I've been using Canva pretty much primarily.
Okay, perfect, Coach. Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming on. Coaches, as kind of Coach said, whether you're watching us after the fact or during, because like we've had over 200 different coaches on so far. If you can find Coach on Twitter or email him, I know on most social media accounts is Mr. Coach Wilson, as Coach kind of mentioned earlier. Do not hesitate to reach out to him, whether it's about stuff like this or offense-specific topics. Like I said, Coach did a great job, and kind of let Coach. I mean, we're going to kind of we got a couple minutes, but we're going to start transitioning our next speaker. Coach, thank you again, and I appreciate you coming on and talking to everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Coach. All right, as Coach gets transitions here, we're going to get ready for our next speaker, and to his chagrin, and I think hesitation is a bad word. Really, just so I leave him alone for a little bit, so stop asking him to come on things is probably the more accurate term. But Coach Finn is a good friend of mine. B, he's the head football coach at New Albany High School here in Columbus, Ohio, or the suburbs of Columbus, Ohio. If we want to be really specific. Coach, as he's getting set up here and get ready to share a screen, is going to show I can't enunciate today. Talk a little bit about TRAP and kind of what they do. New Albany is a very good program there in Columbus, and Coach always does a great job. Again, he also has a great culture talk on my channel. On a side note, back from the COVID days, the old days. So give Coach a second here. He's got a couple minutes, and then we'll kind of go from there. Like I said, we are 5 minutes ahead schedule.
Give me a minute. I'm just trying to share right now. It's not letting me, so give me a sec here.
Okay. You're good, Coach.
I might have to go through our school system here.
You're good. Like I said, we're a little ahead schedule, so you're You are perfectly fine, Coach. And like I said, I hope everybody's enjoying so far. Like I said, we've had over 200 different coaches on. It's kind of the day goes in and out. And so.
I think I'm going to leave and hop back on maybe.
Okay. You got to do. Like I said, again, coaches also, again, do not hesitate as Coach jumps back on and make sure his stuff working. That you don't hesitate to ask questions. I got the live feed up on my separate screen here. First time I've ever had dual monitors doing any of this stuff. So don't hesitate to ask questions as we go. And then, like I said, Coach is going to talk trap. And then if you've not seen the updated schedule, I'm going to be really brief because Coach got his screen to share. So while Coach gets that ready, I do want to just remind people that there was a small schedule change because Coach Wheeler is very sick. And I think there's like a big bug going around. And so we moved Coach Stiegel up to 4:15. Probably give Coach Cam Tucker a little extra time to talk, or if Coach Finn here goes a little over. But I'm going to let my good friend here get started. Again, he is the head football coach at New Albany High School. They're in the suburbs of Columbus, Ohio. Very good academics and athletic school. Vastly underrated. And Coach Finn is extremely underrated and won't take any limelight for himself. You know, he deserves it. And my good friend, Coach Finn, the floor is yours.
All right. Shared. We can see it. We're good.
You're good.
Well, thank you for all of that. Coach Bandstra is correct. I'm not big on getting in front and getting videoed and all those things. So, but I definitely want to give a shout out to him. When he contacted me a number of years ago, I think it was literally maybe the day before COVID, maybe the pandemic happened. Reached out to me, and at that time I wasn't even the head coach, but wanted to know if we would be on this new thing that he was trying to do. And since then, to see where this has gone for him. For those of you that might be on here, if you haven't checked out his channel, and he's not paying me to do this, you should definitely check it out. I've benefited myself immensely from not just listening to some of the things that he's put out there, but the contacts. These guys that have gone on here, Coach Middleton, Coach Wilson, both of them. I don't know either one of them, but I can promise you that if you do reach out to them, I can almost guarantee you that they would be more than happy to get back with you. And I've created a lot of contacts that way. I've kind of done some things over the last few years because of these contacts, and I was only able to make them because of Coach Bandstra. So if you haven't reached out or haven't taken advantage of what he's got out there, I would encourage everybody to take a look at the playlist. Keep him in your contacts, reach out to him. For all the accolades he gave me, there's quite a few that he should probably give himself as well, as far as I'm concerned. This is just my information, my email, where I'm at on X, Twitter, that kind of stuff, and kind of the same thing that the other coaches have said. If you've got any questions, or don't hesitate to reach out, and if it's not myself that can answer a question based on anything that we do, we'll definitely get a hold of you. I'm fortunate to coach with a number of great individuals, and all of us would be willing to help out in any way possible. Coach Bandstra gave a little bit of background, a little bit about New Albany. I'm not going to go into that. I will just throw in there, for those that don't know, in the state of Ohio, there is over 700 schools that play football. And we're classified 1 through 7, 1 being the largest, 7 being the smallest. And we are a Division I program. With that being said, unlike maybe some of the other schools that have either been on here or will be on here, in Ohio, and it's a widely known thing. We are the most restricted sport in the state of Ohio. We don't get spring football. We don't have classes. We can't do anything legally until May 15th. And even when that rolls around, we're limited in what we can do. We're limited before that. We're not really allowed to do much at all in terms of like off-season stuff, other than really being the weight There's not a whole lot that we can do. Now, there's some gray area things that you can do and things like that. But for the most part, we don't get an opportunity here in Ohio to take advantage of some of the things I know a lot of other states, a lot of other schools do. That's not here nor there. It's just the reality of what it is. Might help to understand a little bit of where we're coming from and how we do things and why we do certain things. We're labeled a wing T offense, but like I always tell everybody, I don't call us a wing T offense because I think what we do is not traditional. It's not universal to the wing T world necessarily. There's probably some things that we do that would get us kicked out of the wing T club. But we do try to, day one, our base will be in what we call right and left, what a lot of people know is 100, 200, and we're going to put in buck, we're going to put in trap, and we're going to put in whack. Those things will definitely happen, and that's our base. But our philosophy as an offense, it goes back to a little bit what Coach Middleton was talking about earlier today. When I heard him say, when I was jotting down some notes, he talked about like fitting what your kids can do. He was talking about the quarterback specifically, and we have that same exact philosophy. A lot of what Coach Middleton said, I almost, I was, excited because what I was hearing him say is what I agree a lot of as well. From his efficiency standpoint, from taking kids and putting them into a certain spot, whether it's quarterback or other people, whatever it is, we kind of have the same mindset. So for us, our philosophy is we're a tempo-based offense. We want to go quick. We want to go fast. We're going to have multiple formations. We're going to have multiple personnel packages. We shift, we trade, we motion. And our overall philosophy is we want to create an offense that all 11 people have to be defended. And that includes our offensive alignment. You can't be, and we're lucky at New Albany, we don't have this problem. And I mean that sarcastically. We don't have a ton of big, giant, slow linemen. If you are, you probably couldn't play for us up front. You got to be able to move, you got to be able to pull, you got to be able to trap, you got to be able to do those kinds of things. And so we want to force defenses when they put our film on, we hope that it isn't, oh, hey, it's a wing T offense. Then more likely they're looking at us and saying, oh, okay, they're doing a little bit different. They're not just lining up in one or two things. Hey, the ball's definitely not always coming over here. That's our goal. That's our goal. We want to force defenses to have to defend us across the board, no matter what our formation is, no matter what we're in personnel-wise or any of those kinds of things. The reason why I kind of went with this idea of trap today was because it was kind of a coincidence at the exact same time. The Coach Bandstra reached out to me, and I kind of said, okay, I kind of had a feeling of a topic that I could look at. I was already doing a deep dive into our past season and kind of wanted to look back and kind of verify what I thought I knew. And I know that the 21 numbers are getting covered up here by me, unfortunately. But I wanted to verify that our inside game has a huge impact on our outside game and our overall points per game. And so I started specifically looking at trap and its correlation to buck and its correlation to our points per game. And so we didn't have a successful season by our standards last year. And when I look back and I go back to the offense and I can compare it to a lot of our other offenses over the past 5, 6, 7 seasons, whatever it might be, it kind of fit what I thought. For us to be successful, our trap play or our inside play has to be doing something for us. It isn't, we don't want to ground and pound. We're not just trying to get 3 or 4 yards and be done with that. We'll take it if that's what the defense is giving us. We're patient enough to do that, but we're really we want to be an explosive offense. And I know you can't see it over here, but our trap over here, I believe, was somewhere around 9, and I think our buck was around 8, something like that. And this particular year, we actually went undefeated. We were 12-0 that year. We had a really good season, and our points per game were in the 40s. So it kind of fit in tune with what I kind of thought, and so I was already going down this path of okay, trap. Let me really deep dive into what was going on with our trap last year. Was it a me problem? Was it our talent problem? Was it a system problem? What is it? So I kind of started with that as I kind of went through it and started to do that. Kind of like the way why trap, or I guess why we still emphasize trap for us. Again, it's an explosive play for us. It's not meant to be a 3 or 4 yard play. And I always tell people when I tell the kids, look, trap doesn't work until it does. You'll run it, you won't get very many yards. You'll run it, you might lose it, hopefully never lose a yard, but maybe something happens and it doesn't work. But then eventually at some point in time, trap's going to pop. That's what I always tell them. It's going to pop at some point in time. And it fits all our formations. It fits all our personnel packages. It fits our tempo, our mentality of get off the ball. That's a lot what you'll hear us say a lot as coaches. A lot of times our offense is get off the ball, get off the ball, get off the ball, snap the ball and go. Okay. If you're going to make a mistake, you're the right tackle. You block down on a kid that's supposed to be trapped, well, then you better move him. Get him out of the way because this is a speed play. And if you don't get off the ball, we're telling that fullback he's going to run you over. So you best get off the ball. It's not run much these days anymore for some of the older coaches that are out there. You might remember a technique that used to be taught all the time. It used to be called a wrong arm. Wrong arm is not taught anymore. It used to be a staple of defensive line play, defensive end play, because of so much of the pulling and the trapping that isn't being seen quite as much anymore. And so people aren't really prepared for the trap. Now, I know it's kind of coming back. I've noticed it. It's kind of making its way back again in the NFL. Whether it's the Ravens or the 49ers or whoever, different versions of it, whatever it is. Obviously, we're talking a straight fullback trap for us. We can run different versions of traps with our halfback. We've got some counter type variations off of it but for today's purposes, I'm just strictly talking about the fullback, the inside trap play. We use a lot when we can and where we can the influence trap, which I think also can lead to a lot of explosive type plays. This isn't anything that's ground shaking. You can go to www.wingtee.whatever, okay, and probably get these exact rules. But these are our rules that we use day one when we start installing our trap play. And I'm going to get a little bit into some specific things on some coaching points of what we do and sort of like how we kind of like coach certain things up. I don't know that we do it differently than anybody else. We probably don't. There are a couple things that I know that we do a little bit different than I've seen other teams that might be a wing tee based team do, especially with their tight end tackles and wings, that we might do a little bit different. But, universally, this is pretty much standard, the rules that everybody has when you come to trap. So a couple coaching points here for us, some things that we emphasize when we're running our trap. We teach our center. He has to step with his backside foot. So if we're trapping right, he has to step with his left foot. If we're trapping left, he has to step with his right foot. We tell the center his main job is to clear out the middle. Your job is to create a pass so this backside guard, whoever's trapping, can get through. So that's your number one responsibility. And we don't care where the guy is lined up. Since the center is responsible primarily for the backside A-gap, we teach him you're always going to step with that backside foot, no matter what, whether you're double teaming or not. I know it's different than maybe a lot of what other people teach when it comes to double teams, but we're going to step with that inside foot, and I'll show in a couple slides, make it a little more clear as to kind of why we do that. So if the center's stepping with his backside foot, we teach the guard you must step on the center's foot. So he's going to be inside out. Our trapping guard does not have to pancake anybody. Our trapping guard does not have to blow anybody up. He's a wedge. We need you to be inside out. We need your head to be on the inside. We need your shoulder to be on the inside. Whoever's coming down inside, you have to be a wedge and keep that person away from the hole so our fullback, who's going to be hitting this thing pretty quick, can make a decision on one way or another once he gets past the line of scrimmage. So we don't need kill shots here. I tell the kids this all the time. It's not about pancaking somebody. And for us, we've had a lot of success with some smaller guards that get this concept. They won't always create a giant hole. That's not what I need them to do. I just need you to make sure that whoever that kid is that's coming down inside that A gap, or maybe from that B gap to the A gap, or even a C gap down to a B gap, that you're doing enough so that our fullback can get through. If that 3 technique, 5 technique, 2 technique, whatever, if he can tackle the fullback while being blocked by our guard, so essentially tackling 2 people, then we're probably not running trap anyhow. Okay, if someone's that good, we got issues. All right, and we play a lot of really good teams, and so our kids get a lot of good practice of being inside out, inside out, inside out. Front side tackle, we got kind of a rule in our program. I tell the tackles all the time, look, there's 2 things we're not going to do. We're not going to go chasing waterfalls, and we're not going to go chasing linebackers. All right, and I'll show that again on the slides here coming up. And it's kind of the same rule for our tight end and our wing. This is where I think we might be a little bit different than some other teams that run the trap. We teach what's called a break point. We want our tight end and our wing to get what's called on the break point, and I'll show that here in a second. Our fullback has the midline, and again, running backs are running backs. Anybody that has ever coached running backs out there, we all know that there's certain things that sometimes you just don't teach. We'll never tell our fullback that if he sees daylight, you take daylight and you go. But we also teach him that, look, there's a wall coming down. So when in doubt, look for the wall. all right, because this is where it's coming through. And you got to have a fullback. And this is part of our problem last year. You got to have kids that aren't afraid to run trap, because there's a little bit of fear in there sometimes. It doesn't look good. It looks like there's nothing there, because the speed of how fast it's happening. Initially, the fullback may not see what's going on, but he's got to trust it. And so some of our best fullbacks we've ever had, once they get that concept, trap has usually been a pretty dangerous play for us. Backside tackle, he has what we call the cutoff. We can cut on the backside on certain techniques. We have the ability to do that, or calls that we can make for that. If he's not cutting off, then we tell him he's got what's called run the rail. Our backside tackles, again, because we're looking for guys that will get off the ball. We're looking for guys to be going downfield, looking at second level blocks where and when they can. Obviously, your halfback's got to have a good hard fake. Quarterback's got to have a good hard fakes. And then our hero block is always from any wide receivers that we might have, depending on our package that we might be putting together. So again, just to kind of go over a little bit of those coaching points that I just kind of talked about here. So again, I just kind of, somebody had already said it. I think it was Coach Middleton talked about this. Like, we don't always know exactly what defense we're going to get, and that holds true. We get a lot of different variations of some different things. Sometimes, for me, when I'm going back and looking at something, I think to myself, did they miss a line here, or is this really how they wanted to line up? Sometimes I think that might be due to our tempo and our speed. Sometimes it might be that the defenses are just trying to confuse us. It kind of varies, day to day, week to week, play to play, whatever it is. But if we were to get something that would look something like this, some variation of, some type of, 4-3, 4-4, whatever it might be. Okay. If we were to get something like this, again, the center is going to step with his left foot. I don't care if there's nobody back there or not anybody back there. He's still going to step with his left foot, even though they can make a double team here. And the reason why, again, we teach that is because he's got this backside A gap. If this linebacker wants to shoot through this gap, he's got to be ready by stepping with that left foot to know that he may have to take this linebacker. The way we teach a lot of our double teams, and again, it always goes back to what the kids can do all the time. If we're truly going to blow somebody off the ball, this is the best double team you can have, combo or whatever. This is how simple we try to make it. You take that nose and you shove him back to that linebacker. If that linebacker has to go over the top, great. I don't care. We'll live with that. If he makes a tackle for a 4 or 5 yard gain, so be it. All right. But if that linebacker comes underneath, that's a bigger problem. And so we want to get as much movement on this nose as we possibly can. If this center ever feels like, hey, I can't help this guard out because this linebacker's creeping up or he's coming, this guard's got to know, for him, this is I'm coming down and I'm down blocking. All right. If I get help, great. If I don't get help, then I'm responsible for clearing this out so that my guard can get through. But we're going to step with this inside foot, this left foot. And then our guard here is taught to step on his inside foot. So he's going to replace the guard's foot or replace the center's foot so he can be inside out on this guy. Again, no one's teaching wrong arm that I'm aware of and have seen for a very long time. All right. If you don't know what wrong arm is, you can look it up. Essentially, it's trying to trap the trapper is probably the easiest way to say it. What I've noticed and what we've been getting a lot of for years now is people teaching this kid just to crash that gap. That might be his only job all game long, is to crash that gap. So I tell our guards, you've got to be inside out, be a wedge. I don't care if he goes around you. If he beats you around you and he makes the tackle, that's the fullback's problem, not you. All right. So if a guy wants to go way upfield, we'll sometimes let a guy go upfield and our guard will turn upfield and just start going to the next thing because he knows that guy's no longer a threat to me. He took himself completely out of the play. But we want to make sure that any tackle that wants to come down a defensive end or nose or whatever it is, that wants to come down inside, we're inside out the best that we can. Here's where I think we're a little bit different, or we vary maybe a little bit different from some other teams. Our tackle has his rule is what we call first inside linebacker. But we tell him all the time, that doesn't mean that the linebacker that lines up inside of you might not be your first inside linebacker. Don't go chasing linebackers. All right. So I tell tackles a lot of times, you may work to the backside linebacker. All right. Everybody's big on run fits these days. Who's running fit where going where, this, that, and the other, right? Well, these linebackers are taught against us anyhow. They're either probably going C to D. So tackle, don't waste your time trying to block this linebacker because he isn't going to be in there most of the time anyhow. All right. Most likely this linebacker, which is taught to play backside A to frontside A to frontside B, that's most likely the linebacker you're going to block. So don't go chasing a linebacker. Why? Trust that our tight end and our wing that is coming down, they have what's called break point. Okay. They're coming down inside and they're going to take care of any scraping thing, safety, linebacker, whatever it is. We call it break point because, again, we're creating a wall here for this fullback to potentially veer towards if he doesn't see daylight inside first. So we tell the guys, everybody from the tackle all the way out, you're going to the next first inside thing to the inside of you, whatever that might be. And that's hard. That's hard. The kids want to go. They want to go chasing the waterfall sometimes. All right. But we tell them, trust it. Don't do that. If we ever get a kid, and we have had, again, we play some really good teams in our schedule, in our league. Yes, we've had kids be able to knife in here every once in a while. They're just coming. They're just coming and they've been able to almost get down and cause a problem with the trap. If that happens, can we make an adjustment? Like, let's say he's a 7-eye, or maybe he's slightly inside the tight end. Sure, we'll tell the tight end that, hey, look, you're going to have to stay home and block him. But whenever possible, these two guys, they're taught to dip and rip. We're dipping and ripping, and we're getting to the linebacker. The Z's coming down inside, or wings coming down inside. He's going to look up any linebacker to safeties. If nothing shows, we call break point because they'll break off and start working upfield. Again, another variation of why I like trap is because you can put the influence blocking scheme into it as well. Again, the influence isn't for every defense. It's not great against everything. There are different circumstances and times where you want to use it. It is an answer, in my opinion, when you do have a kid that maybe that kid is knifing out, okay, or he's coming hard inside. This is another variation where then you can help take care of that kid. We'll use an influence block usually for one or two reasons. If everybody's reading guards, which I think traditionally everybody looks at that, but a lot of times we'll trap one techniques in here too. You know, if we get a bigger one technique and we're just not going to block down on him, real successfully, a lot of times we'll call that our short trap. We'll try and influence him out just to widen him, maybe to go with the guard, thinking maybe it's our sweep play, and then we'll trap anything that's inside here. Our rule is with our trap, we trap the first thing in or outside the hole. So for us, it's an A gap trap that we're trying to kick somebody out, wedge them out there, and so anybody that's in here is fair game to get trapped. We're not opposed to trapping away from a tight end wing. Again, one of the reasons why we like trap, it fits everything. It fits all our formations. It fits our personnel groupings, whatever it is, and we'll trap a lot of times opposite of the tight end wing as well. We'll get into spread type looks and we'll trap. The only difference here is that we teach our halfback here or our other wing, whoever it might be, and it could be a personnel thing. We could have two tight ends here in the game, that they got to understand now that they're responsible to come inside. They've got the break point now, just like the tight end did on the other side. From a practice perspective, again, we always get into smaller groups. To start off with, pods is kind of like, I know the new thing that everybody kind of talks a little bit about. So we'll do this from a practice perspective. We'll obviously start off talking about splits. When we trap, I want splits. Tell the guys this all the time. Splits. Whoever we're trapping, I want to widen them out. Okay. Even if you're going to end up down blocking on a technique to your inside guards, I still want you to widen out a little bit. Okay. Bring that guy with you a little bit, see what he wants to do. Tell kids all the time, you can get a lot of answers to the test by how you line up. You get a certain split and they move with you or they don't move with you. They're giving you exactly what you need to know. Where are they going? If they widen out with you, they probably want that gap. If they stay inside, they probably want that gap. So we try to tell the kids, hey, it starts with splits first thing. Go over our assignments and then we go over our techniques. And this a little be a drill that I would run. Guard, center, guard. He'd be working, step on his left foot. He'd be inside out. We'd be trapping here. Guard would be working to this linebacker. And then we just rotate. So center becomes nose, guard becomes linebacker, guard becomes the trapper. And we just rotate that way. And then what we'll do, depending on the kids, depending on, what day we're on, whatever it is, we just start implementing different looks here. Now we can work a double team here with maybe a linebacker coming underneath, okay, or a linebacker playing over the top. We're still inside out. Center's still stepping with the same foot. Nothing changes for him. Okay, get into something like this where now we can start talking about, okay, do we want to influence this? Do we want to influence with this guard, drop, go, kick out, trap here, block back? Or do we want to block down on this guy? Depending on the kids, depending on, how good we are up front, what we have in terms of, our kids in terms of like, how good they are or returning starters or whatever it is. When it comes to the influence, we've done it a couple of different ways. If I trust the guards, okay, they're heady, they've got experience, or they're, in general, pretty smart kids, I'll let them make the call. I'm not in the game. I'm not out there. I don't know where this kid's lined up. I have no clue. So there's times where we give the guards the free rein to make that decision and make that call. And then there's other times where we just send it in as a tag. We've got a word, a tag that they know that that's what it means. And anytime that we're influencing our tackles, our tight ends, our wings, they all know that, okay, I got to take the next inside guy no matter what. Whether I'm chasing or not chasing, I got to go to the next inside guy because we're losing somebody by influencing. I don't know if we've got enough time for film or not.
Coach, you got about safely, I can tell, give me 3 seconds, I'll tell you. You got about 5 or 6 minutes. You can probably get through a couple clips.
Yeah, I don't have very many on here. Is it still sharing? We still good?
Yes,
here?
You're good, Coach.
All right, so I'm just going to jump to the back angle because it's really the only angle that matters in history of football. Anyhow, so this was last year. This was week 1, and this is kind of an example of what I mean by teams kind of like doing something that, again, not that we've never seen it, but, you don't know week 1, you jump in, you don't know what's going on, okay? And so they've predetermined that they were turning this guy inside, okay? Knowing that we like to run our trap and it's one of our main plays. And so this was kind of like their answer to it here. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to block this like normal here. All right. I'm going to kind of go slow with it because I know it's always kind of weird with film when you're on these things. Okay. First of all, I can tell you this, both these guard stances stink and I'm not real happy about that. Okay. I don't understand why our butts are so low. Okay. But our center should be stepping with his left foot, and it's hard to tell, but I can already tell I don't think he moved his left foot. My right guard's not doing a bad job, but he needs to really step towards here, and you're going to see why here in a second. Because as he comes through this gap, instead of being inside out, okay, he's almost face mask to face mask or almost slightly outside shoulder. Had he been a wedge, like he was taught to be inside out, okay, we're getting movement here on this guy. My guard ended up coming down. This linebacker that was on the backside has played over the top. You see my tight end and tackle are coming down to the break point. This thing should hit right in here. Okay. Now, this fullback's not trusting it, and I'm not saying I'm blaming, okay, because we're not inside out. It looks like it's closed. Now, had he stuck with it, maybe we would have been fine. Maybe we would have been good there. But because my guard's not inside out, what's that force this fullback to do? He decides to bounce it. As you can see here, this guy's fighting over the top. And now here's a free player coming inside because we weren't blocking him. Okay? Going wrong here. Okay? But I wanted to put this clip in here because I wanted to show kind of like the influence of what it does to these linebackers. This should not be an influence situation here. My guard should block down, but for some reason he influences out. He decides that he's going to drop, he's going to influence, and he's going to kick. And my center's going to block back on this 3 technique here. So 56 here is going to be unblocked. All right. If he made an influence call, this backside guard, again, he should be stepping on his center's foot. And he should be inside out. Maybe if he sees 56, maybe he gets a piece of him, but that's a lot to ask a true 1 technique like this. We'll trap something in his A gap, but probably not as head up as this guy is right here. So we influence here. But what you see is on this influence, look at this number 55 here. Okay. This 55 is flying out of there on the influence. So it's not it's getting the desired effect from linebackers, but it's not getting the desired effect from this nose here that ends up being unblocked. And ends up just making an easy tackle there. All right, so there's some bad stuff. So let's take a look at just real quick at a good one here. Okay, not a good one as we got some on here where we've hit it for some big yards here. Okay, but this is an offensive line that was a little more established, senior led, very high IQ. Been through our program and had some starts under their belts, and so they're able to do things maybe a little bit better than our group was last year here. Guys, I'm going to start with the wide angle just because it's a little bit of a better angle here. Okay, but you'll see our center's getting off the ball. He's going to block back. Okay, we've got a 2 technique or a 3 technique. He's inside this B gap here, so my guard's going to work to the backside linebacker or work to the next linebacker. This tackle should not chase. He should work to the backside linebacker. Tight end should work to the next linebacker. This guard should step inside out. This tackle should be cutting off on the backside. And again, this time the fullback, and this is what I said earlier, like he could have ran the wall. You see the wall, my tight end tackle coming down, doing a good job of getting to this linebacker. He could have hugged it and bounced it here, but he saw daylight and he hit it up inside. We're never going to tell a fullback he's wrong, especially if he's going to score a touchdown. Okay, real quick from the back angle. Again, center gets good movement. Guard comes down, tackle comes down. Fullback sees it. Obviously, it was near the goal line, so he took the easy 5 yards. Real quick, just to show one big play here, show that we do have the capability of going some distances here. Okay, and this is with a successful influence trap here. Okay, and I'll show it from the back angle here in a second, but just to kind of show you the fullback bounce is this kind of wide. Okay, so in this scenario here, this is against a 4-3, which the influence is usually a pretty good call against the 4-3 here. Okay, so the guard made an influence call here. He's going to influence out. Okay, center is going to block back. Guard is going to step on the foot of the center, which he does a pretty good job here. He's inside out. Great inside out here. Now the fullback, there is a lane here, but the fullback knows the wall's coming down inside. So he hugs the wall in this particular situation. He trusted the wall. Probably could have gone either way here, but he trusted the wall. Again, tight end's getting kind of bullied here. Not real happy about it. My tight end getting shoved down inside here. He should dip, rip, and get vertical. Okay. But you see the wing is also coming down inside. We're not worried about this guy right here because we got an influence call here, so we definitely don't have to worry about him. So a trap to us, again, is kind of a big play for us, or we try to make it a big play for us. It's not a ground and pound play. We want to try and get explosiveness out of it. Last thing real quick, to go along with what Coach Wilson just said, I don't care what offense, defense, special teams, whatever it is that you do, you do. But if you don't have great guys coaching with you to get your scheme across or your philosophy across or whatever it isn't going to work. No matter what it is, whether it's ground and pound, whether it's air raid, whatever you got. I'm fortunate to have a group of guys, and they've been coaching with me for a very, very long time, that buy into what we do. They understand our philosophy. They're down with it. And if it wasn't for them and these guys are on this screen, we wouldn't have the success, some of the success we've had. It's really all about the assistants. And I know Coach Wilson kind of talked a little bit about that, I thought, with his last talk before I got on here. Talking about the importance of assistant coaches. Me being a former assistant coach, I 100% agree with that you're not going to get very far unless you've got some really good guys coaching with you. And I'm lucky to have these guys coaching with me. Again, this is our information, my information, whether it's myself or any of those guys I just had on that last slide. If you need anything or have any suggestions or any other questions that don't get answered here today, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you follow me on the social media stuff, I'll make sure to follow you back as well. Please reach out any way, shape, or form. Again, thanks guys for having New Albany on here. Thanks, Coach Bandstra, again for all that you've done, not just for for the coach community, but New Albany in particular and myself in particular. Thank you.
I do have one quick question before you go. Just because as I was watching it, like, do you ever run? Because I saw with your jet motion, do you ever run trap away from your jet motion? I seem to especially once you start getting that full flow. From experience, it seems to hit well for me. But do you guys run that at all, or any thoughts on that?
Yeah, we've dabbled in it, and again, I know people think you probably are paying me for this. Okay, but you had a coach from Michigan on one of your talks a couple of years ago that I reached out to, and I saw him. They were doing it extremely well, and I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, what's your coaching point?" Because with the quarterback, the quarterback's got to know to almost kind of go a different direction. And so I kind of reached out to him and I said, hey, I was interested in kind of how they did it. And so, yes, we've done that before. We've reversed it and come back the other way with it. So, yes, we've done it. It's not something that we live on, but it's definitely something, again, I think it goes back to, again, kind of like what Coach Middleton was saying, like, some kids just aren't good at it. It seems like a simple thing. Well, okay, motion across this way, run trap back that way. And it's a very simple concept to all of us as adults. But to the kids, sometimes they're kind of like, well, wait a minute. Like the motion's going this way, the back's going this way. Like everything should go this way. This is kind of how you do it. And I think there's a comfort level to it that sometimes might stop you from wanting to do it or being able to do it. But yes, we've done it before. It is something that we have in our arsenal. I can tell you that we didn't do it last year because the kids that we had last year were very inexperienced in a lot of ways, in a lot of areas, and it just probably would have caused probably more headaches than it would have success. So we didn't do it at all last year. But we definitely did it. And then again, I saw it from, I stole it from, like I said, a coach that you had on here a number of years ago, and I reached out to him, and he was nice enough to, send me some messages back, and we talked about it.
And one more question, because I know we're short on time, but I did have a question just DM'd to me about the backfield footwork. Is there anything different you do there than typical wing T teams, and how anal are you with it before Coach Tucker gets started?
I don't want to speak, for Bobby Britton is our running backs coach. So if anybody's got something specific, I'll definitely get the question to him. I would say that we've played around with where we'll put the fullback. Some fullbacks we put a little bit deeper. Heels are usually on 4, which I think is standard for everybody when you're running the trap. I'm assuming we're talking about the fullback here.
Yep.
And so, I believe that, there's nothing, I don't think there's anything different than what anybody else is taught. We're not teaching anything different. I think it's kind of universal for whatever it is, but there is something specific, like, as he if he's trapping, if we're going to the right, he's probably stepping with his left foot. If we're going to the right, he's probably initially stepping with his opposite foot to help clear everything out so that he can see where he's going. But if there's something more specific than that, don't hesitate to, like I said, reach out to me. And if there's a specific question, I'll definitely get the answer to that question.
Okay, perfect, Coach. Well, coaches, give Coach a follow or shoot him an email. And like I said, I appreciate Coach Finn for coming on. And like I said, it took me 4 years, but he finally got it back on, so that made me happy. Yep. So now I got 4 more years before I got to harass you again. So just understand we've set a very strict time gap here on when you're supposed to appear. I will probably calculate it later down to the day, so you'll get a countdown. I'm just letting you know.
I hear you. But seriously, thanks for everything you're doing. And like I said, I've utilized all your stuff, and I appreciate you. So
thank you.
I got you in 4 years.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, brother. Thank you,
Coach Tucker, and I think make sure you're good to. I don't know. Like I said, as we're getting Coach Tucker ready. Coaches, like I said, don't hesitate again to comment or do all that stuff in the chat. I won't keep post stuff. Coach Tucker, you have a little bit longer time than some of our other guests because of our cancellation at 4. Next person is up to 4:15. So if you want to take extra time, don't hesitate. No pressure. Again, and you can share your screen whenever you're ready, Coach, as I kind of do this little spiel and make sure we're good. Coaches, everybody that's listening, again, thank you. We have 2 more speakers for our dinner break, quote unquote. Like I said, I appreciate this is our second Harding coach to come on today. Again, they are the defending Division II national champions. So it's awesome to have 2 fantastic national championship coaches on here. And I think Coach Purvis reached out to you, and like I said, he was very excited. And I'm excited too, because I don't think receiver blocking and under center offense is talked about enough. And I get that blocking drills can get boring after a time, but they are the most important part, especially when you're running stuff on the perimeter. So the floor is yours. This is Coach Cameron Tucker. He is the receivers coach at Harding University. Coach, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. just go ahead and get into it. I'm talking about the option blocking, so how we block the perimeter. I'm a coach's kid. Grew up around football. I love talking ball, and there's going to be a lot that we don't get to today. Tags, drills, those kind of things, just because of the time. But if you have any more questions or want more information, I love talking ball with coaches. So don't hesitate to reach out. I love talking ball. It's my favorite part. So don't hesitate. And we'll just kind of jump into it here. So first thing, I just wanted to cover some basics, some things that we talk about a lot. Every option play has an over-under scheme. And what I mean by that is puts your read key in a bind and protects all phases of the option. So if the B-back's going to carry the football, there's someone protecting him. If the quarterback pulls it and keeps it, there's someone protecting him. And if the quarterback pulls it and gets the ball pitched, which is what we want to happen, there's someone protecting the slot. And the tags, like I said, we won't get to all of them today, but we talk about our tags like chess pieces. It allows us to move our guys in order to protect the over-under scheme. Our base box play blocking is where we say we have gap, not guy. So if the post-snap picture is different than the pre-snap picture, it shouldn't matter to us. Our guys are going to get their eyes to the right spot and trust that even if the pre-snap guy isn't there post-snap, someone is coming into his gap. So we always tell our offensive linemen and our slots when they're blocking in the box, you have gap, not guy. Well, it's the same concept, same idea on the perimeter. We say we have area, not man. Don't chase. Someone's going to come into your area. So just trust your eyes and get to the area. So slot, by rule, he will block number 3 no matter how it unfolds. Wide receiver will block the deepest man no matter how it unfolds. And we count the perimeter the same on all option plays, whether we're running inside veer or mid-triple. We're going to base our count out of inside veer rules, which to us is 4-eye out for number 1 or the dive read. And then the next immediate threat is number 2 for the pitch read. And so number 3 becomes safety, corner, outside linebacker, depending on how they fit it. And today I'm just going to show you how we practice those, how we get our guys to the right areas, how they communicate those things, how we rep it in practice, and then what it looks like in a game. So the very first thing that we're going to start with, the very first thing that we cover is actually a rule breaker, is the 4-2-1 high. And so our first tag, our rule to the 4-2 is going to be line. We're going to load and the slot and lock the box. So anytime he hears line, he knows his rule is out the door. He's no longer arcing and kicking 3. We're going to lock the box. And the reason for that is number 3 technically is the free safety in the middle of the field. And we think with our dynamic slots, the guys that we have carrying the football, they can outrun that safety. We like one-on-one matchups in the perimeter, and no matter what you do, any option play, you have to hang someone, whether it be the corner, the play side safety, or the backside safety. So in this specific look, we're going to take our chance and hang that free safety, saying that he can't make the play. And then if he does, if he's a dude, he's a stud, he can run. We're going to tag what we call plumber. And that is the receiver's going to block the safety, and we're going to hang that corner. Hopefully, we can get a 2-for-1, and I'll go over that in a minute when we get to the film. But we can get a 2-for-1 with that corner and safety, and it creates a really nice alley. But if we don't, and that corner falls off and makes a play at the line of scrimmage, we'll get to Fargo, which is a PP tag. We'll go over all that as well once we get to the film. And that just allows us to get all of our hats back. So here, this is what we call half line period. We'll go both ways. I'll show you both ways. But pre-snap, we're going to read this guy, pitch off this guy, and this slot is going to load and lock this box. Receiver is going to block this corner, and we're going to hang this free safety. Stepping inside foot, working opposite of that 5 technique. This was back when we could cut still, so this slot's repping his cut. Our tackle, he's going to veer. If he gets underneath this 5, you can see him press back out. We call that running the Y. He's really looking to get to the free safety. Now, most of the time, he's not going to get there, and we know that. We're okay with that. Kind of like here, he gets caught up. That's okay. We're good hanging the free safety. So we'll rep this both ways, multiple times, multiple groups. Same look. Repping this look specifically is the X, showing our slot how fast it can actually happen. Same read, same pitch. Okay, so here we are in a game. Here's our read. Here's our pitch. We're hanging this guy, locking the box on this guy with our slot. So here, really in a perfect world, we could get our slot to stay on him a little bit longer and really, really lock that guy in there. So that creates this alley when this pitch man pitch read takes the slot. If he stays on just a little bit longer, it creates an even bigger alley. But we'll take 10 yards all day. We'll never complain about that. I know most of you guys will never complain about that. That's a really good football play. Our tackle actually ends up working to the free safety here. Runs his Y. See him fighting through. Big thing, the slot should have just stayed on a little bit longer and really locked the box. But it's a good football play. We're happy hanging the free safety, like I said. But when he's a dude, and he will be a dude, there's a reason why he's in the middle of the field. The old saying, man in the middle. When he starts making the play, we're going to tag Plummer. The only thing that changes is this receiver is going to block the free safety. We're going to try and get this 2-for-1, get this corner to bump with us, hopefully buying enough time to get the ball pitched and give our slot a chance with the one-on-one. Everything else stays the same. Read, pitch, lock in the box here. So in practice, most of the time we over-exaggerate the 2-for-1 look, mostly because they're way more athletic than me, and I'm not going to make that tackle in practice, so we're going to over-exaggerate the look. So here it is in a game, okay? We actually ran it to a 4-3 in this specific look because of how they were fitting it. By rule, we like to run it to the 4-2, but if they're fitting a specific way, you can run it to different defenses. So there's read, there's pitch. That's who we're plumbering. We're going to get a 2-for-1. This guy's going to bump, and we're going to lock the box on this mic right here. You can watch this corner. He's playing man, and you can see him bump for just two steps. That's all we really need. That's all we really want from it, because it just buys our slot enough time to make a move. They do call a penalty here on our receiver. It's a great block, but you can see how that plumber tag buys you enough time. You get a hat on the running safety, get this corner to at least bump for 2, giving your slot enough time when he catches the ball to win a one-on-one matchup. Slot's locking the box on the mic. Said back when we could cut. Can't do that anymore. Slot makes the move. It's a good football player besides the holding call, obviously. Then, like I said, the last kind of bit to the 4-2 is Fargo. And so to us, that's a PPP tag. This guard's going to base, same as if we were running any variation of 12. This tackle, he's going to loop outside of all of this and get a hat to the free safety. Okay. The quarterback knows that Fargo is a PP tag. What we mean by that is he's going to pit or pull the ball no matter what. He's going to look to pitch off of the stack is what we call it. It's not obviously a true stack, but he's looking to pitch off of these two guys no matter how it unfolds. This slot is going to kick this overhang, and the receiver is still going to work his stock rules on the corner. Okay, so if they up and plug, quarterback's going to pitch off this D end or read the D end. If they squeeze and scrape, he's going to take it for 3 and get it thumped. Right? If he pulls it and this D end just shoots out with the slot, he knows he's running the football. But no matter what, this ball is getting pulled out of the B-back's belly. Gives us a chance to get our hats back, block everyone. He gets turned shoulders, quick trigger. You can see it just creates a really nice, clean alley. And it allows us to get all our hats back. Well, same thing here. We'll wrap it both ways. Quick trigger again. We love quick triggers. Allows us to get the ball to our playmakers faster. Same thing here. We're pitching off of the stack. Slot's going to arc to here. Receiver's working his stock rules, and this tackle is going to loop all the way to this safety back here. He's looking, they've lined the safety up to the field. He's looking to block this guy. DN tries to slow play it. That's why our quarterback takes it for 2. Now we can leverage pitch him. Ball gets pitched downhill, which is what we want. Really pretty football play right there. Now our tackle, he doesn't actually get a true hat on the safety, but he makes him run a bubble. And if he makes him run a bubble, we're going to be in good shape. At the very least, if he runs a bubble, we know we're going to get extra yards. Receiver slows down the corner. Wasn't a great block, but it was enough. He about overruns it. Probably should have been a little bit more patient, but he gets enough of them, creates a big football play. Same thing here, same game. Get the ball pitched downhill. Get it to your playmakers fast. Let them do the rest of the work. It's also nice, too, because it takes the read off your quarterback. So if they're trying to play games with the read, cue stunt, those kind of things, it's an easy answer because your quarterback's not reading dive. As soon as the ball snaps, he's getting his eyes to the edge for the pitch. He knows he's pulling it. We get it pitched quick here, get the playmakers in space. Butt shot. Safety works really wide. That's okay. We like that too. Just take him where he wants to go. Slot will make you right. Explosive play. Okay. So now to the rule stuff. We call it fit 1. We really call it cover 4. It's not a true cover 4, but that's kind of our our way of describing it. So our rule, like I said earlier, the slot's going to arc to number 3 in the option count, and the wide receiver is going to block the deepest man. In this specific look, the slot will block the play side safety, and the receiver will block the corner. Okay, so read. There's number 1, pitch. There's number 2. Here's number 3. Okay, the safety. Receiver's working stock rules. He's going to outside release to a press man like this, push vertical or push outside for 3 and work a flyby. We just want to take him for a run, get him downfield as far as possible. If we don't have to block him, that's great. If he's going to run with us, even better. Makes it easy. The slot, he's going to step. He's going to get his eyes right to this area. And that'll be huge when we get to the next fits. But he knows he's not, like I said, with the offensive line. You're not chasing a guy. He's not assuming that he knows how it's all going to unfold. He's just getting his eyes to an area and trusting that someone will show. So this is the second fit we show in practice every day. In a perfect world, this is what happens. Makes it easy. Pull, pitch, slots, kicking that safety, working through this inside shoulder that allows us to get downhill, get the ball pitched with this slot going full speed towards the end zone. That's what we want to do. Same thing. We'll rep it both ways, multiple times. Quarterbacks are getting turned downhill. Make this guy commit. This guy's kicking. It creates this nice alley right here. Okay. The Geronimo tag specifically is for 4-3 deep mic. And all that means is this tackle is going to outside release to the mic. Everything else stays the same. Okay. Here's from this year. Early on, we're reading, we're pitching, we're arcing. It's going to end up being the safety. Wide receivers working his stock rules. We actually get this one circled, which doesn't happen very often, but we love it when it does. Like I said, you have to hang someone, whether it be the corner, front side safety, or backside safety. So here the backside safety makes the play. We're good with that. We get 11. We'll never, ever complain about getting 11 yards. Read, pitch, number 3 by pre-snap. Fits how we think. You can see our slot on the snap of the ball. He's getting his eyes to his area. He knows that someone's going to come into his area. Okay. Finds a safety. We get it circled. Playmakers in space. And we're rolling. Same game. Okay. This isn't a great block by the slot, but he gets enough of them. Backside safety's rolling. Makes a play. But it fits how we like it. Same thing here. This is out of our heavy package. Tackle over. Nothing changes. Still reading. We're still pitching. Arcing to the safety. Receivers blocking deepest man, no matter how it unfolds. Get this one kicked. He falls off. The slot doesn't have great hat placement. We want to work through this shoulder if we're kicking him. So he recovers, but still, even without a perfect block, we're getting 11 yards. So we're happy with it. Okay, the next look we show is corner fire. So Slot, same rule applies. Slot arcs number 3, wide receiver blocks deepest man. In this specific look, your slot will block the corner. Your receiver will block the play side safety. The big key for this is your receiver needs to make a pre-snap hot call when he gets a press corner. No matter what, he's making a pre-snap hot call. That tells the slot that there's a chance of corner fire. And then post-snap, your receiver will make a fire call saying that it's a corner fire. The hot call is saying, like, hey, there's a chance they're corner firing. Be aware of it. The fire call is it's a corner fire. Get your eyes to the right spot. Okay, so same thing. Here's read. Here's pitch. By pre-snap alignment, this would be number 3. Okay, but we're getting a hot call right here. Okay, so he knows there's a chance of corner fire. And instead of having our receiver try and block this guy on the line of scrimmage, which is really, really hard to do, we're just going to switch responsibilities, essentially. So he's making a hot call, ball snapped, it's a corner fire. He's making fire call. Quarterback still reading and pitching. Easier on our receiver, easier on our slot because of the pre-snap call and the post-snap call. He knows where his eyes are going. And now you don't have to ask your receiver to try and block corner on the line of scrimmage, which is really hard to do. Same thing, we'll rep it both ways. Okay, so we really don't see that much corner fire to inside veer. It's more common to mid triple because of the twirl motion. It's kind of a giveaway sometimes. But what we did do was when we got 2 high looks and we got either a squat corner or quick trigger corner like this look here, is even though we won't make the pre-snap hot call, we'll make the post-snap fire call. Okay, so by pre-snap alignment, we're thinking it's probably going to be a fit 1. Okay, we're going to get out here and we're going to be okay. Well, when this corner triggers as fast as he does, that's really, really hard on the receiver to hold that block that long. So we'll switch responsibilities again. We'll just make the fire call. The slot knows he's now kicking the corner. Receiver knows he's working to the safety. Okay. Now the guy we're pitching off of here, this is another PP tag like Fargo. He recovers. But you can see how it all unfolded post-snap. And then the last look, a little bit more common to inside veer stuff, is the 3-2 exchange. Same thing, same rule applies. Your slot's blocking number 3, your wide receiver's blocking deepest man. In this specific look, the slot will block the outside linebacker and the receiver will block the corner. Quarterback knows when he sees the 3-2 exchange, the pitch read becomes a safety. This is the last thing we'll show to our option plays in practice. Okay, so pre-snap, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Okay. Post-snap picture, he's going to exchange and become the pitch player. Okay. He's going to become the quarterback player. So when that happens, nothing changes for our slot. He knows he's taking the same step. He's getting his eyes to this area, and he's trusting that someone's going to come into that area. Okay. When the quarterback sees this happen, he knows, and I have to pitch off the safety. Okay. Sees the outside linebacker expand. He knows I'm kicking him. Quarterback knows I got to get downhill and find the safety, get the pitch off of him. Same thing. We'll rep it both ways, just like everything else. Receiver's working his stock rules. Okay. So here, Pre-snap, we're thinking read, pitch, number 3. Okay. Post-snap picture is going to look a lot different. He shoots out with our slot. Okay, we automatically know it's 3-2 exchange. The safety actually fits way too wide. He fits it like cover 4, creating a huge alley for a quarterback, which will take all day long as well. Slot knows he's taking the same step. He sees that guy run with him. He knows he's kicking him now. Trust your rules. Area, not man. Don't chase people. Don't assume you know what they're going to do. It's just like playing quarterback. And in your reading, you don't ever assume what the read's going to do. It's the same thing. Don't chase with your eyes. Trust your rules. Someone will come into your area. Same thing here. Okay. Oops. About that. So this is a 50, 3-4. We're reading. We're pitching off this guy, thinking this is number 3 pre-snap. Ball snapped. Outside linebacker runs with the slot. So quarterback knows I'm pitching off of this safety now. Okay. The slot, he doesn't do a great job. He overruns it here. He recovers late, which is good for us. But he's assuming that safety is coming over the top. Okay, and this guy's going to fall in late. Get your eyes to your area. Don't assume. Now we recover, and it works out. Get the ball pitched. Get our playmakers in space. Backside safety has to make a play. Okay. And then the last thing that I really wanted to share about the perimeter blocking specifics is, if you don't like your quarterback pitching off the safety, if he struggles reading that, struggles feeling comfortable with that pitch, you can make an easy call, which we call switch. So all switch is this receiver is going to block the safety. This slot is going to block the corner. You can run this out of a compressed set or a spread set. Rules don't change. He knows he's going to the safety. He knows he's going to the corner no matter what. And that tells our quarterback that 2 stays 2 no matter what. So if they 3-2 exchange and he's way out, it's just going to turn into a quarterback run. That eliminates the pitch off the exchanging safety. We get our hats on everyone. Read stays the same for dive. So here we know no matter what, this is number 1, this is number 2. Doesn't matter what they do because we're getting a hat on everyone else. Okay, our slot, he does not do a great job. He gets too wide here. And as soon as you see that guy expand out of the compressed set that we're in here, we need to slip and try and get a better fit on this corner. But the quarterback sees that guy shoot out. He knows he's running the football. Receiver does a great job pinning this safety in there. Perfect world, the slot is fitted up. You can see the alley that's created when that happens. Now we get lucky. This corner didn't make the play. Turns into 6 for us. But that's an easy answer to the exchanging safety. If your quarterback struggles pitching off that, or you don't feel comfortable with him pitching off of it, that's a cheap and easy solution. And then the last thing that I'll talk about with you guys real quickly is, mid triple. Like I said earlier, all of our option blocking rules stem from inside veer, 4-eye out, next man. Okay, so if we're running mid triple here, and there's a lot of other tags we have that protect it, obviously. But if we were running mid triple to the left, we would know we're reading and pitching off of this guy. But our perimeter, our slot, our receiver, they're counting this as 1, 2, 3, so it doesn't change. And now we have other tags that send our tackle out and lock the box and those kind of things to get a hat on everyone. But we didn't want to teach it multiple different ways. So now he's going to twirl and arc, but he's still going to arc to the widest or to number 3 as if we were running outside veer. So, that way we didn't have to teach multiple different rules, keeps it simple. So, yeah. That's really all I got. I think I'm already over time a little bit. So,
no, you're good, Coach. I mean, like I said, like we're a little off because of Coach Wheeler getting sick, and I know my guy after you's getting logged in. He's updating Zoom because you know how Zoom is. So great job.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and I know you only hit on a couple of them. How many? And this is just curiosity, and you don't need to list all of them. How many different like just perimeter blocking tags, just roughly, do you guys have? Like
I know we have like 70 something offensive tags total. Now, not all of those are perimeter blocking tags. We probably have, I want to say probably 8 to 10 per option play.
Okay.
Mid triple, we love mid triple. It's a great play for us. So we have to carry a little bit more tags for that than we do inside veer, just because of the extra hat that we have to gain. So I would say anywhere between 5 and 10 specific perimeter tags, depending on which scheme we're running.
Okay. No, I was just curious because I knew it was fairly a lot because I've heard each of you kind of like speak throughout the years, just because I know, again, as I said this when Coach Middleton was on earlier, like y'all, I mean, I do a great job at helping high school coaches and your staff, the staff in general. Just if anybody's got questions, need any of you to speak at anything, all of you do a fantastic job at, hey, yeah, we'll come speak, we'll come do this. I think somebody's going to be up in the Michigan area here soon. I can't remember who it is off the top of my head. I think I want to say Coach Chisholm, but I could be wrong on that.
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so again, and I know the Harding coaches have spoke at our state association clinic on and off for the past 10 years. So like I said, I appreciate you doing this.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
I'm more than happy to, Coach. And then can you throw back up your contact information real quick, just so as you finish up here, that way, if anybody wants to get a hold of Coach, there's his phone number and his email. Like I said, I appreciate Coach coming on. I appreciate Coach Purvis and Coach Ridgway for reaching out to you guys and getting you guys on here. I don't see any other questions as we kind of wrap up. So Coach, you're free to either stay on here or log off, kind of up to you.
Awesome.
But I
Thank
appreciate
you for having me. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach. And then while Coach logs off and our next speaker gets ready, I'll do my little spiel as we go. We have one more session before we go to our break. Like I said, remember, we will, once Coach is done, we will have a roughly hour and a half break before we jump back on and do the second half of this. So far, I think we've had close to 400 different viewers log on and off throughout the day, which is the nice thing about doing this digitally is you can kind of come and go as the stuff you want. And like I said, let me see if I can have Coach unmute. And Coach, you're free to share your screen whenever you're ready. Like I said, and I'm going to go through my little spiel here while you do whatever prep you need. By chance, I was able to get Coach Stiegel. He is the head football coach at Grandville High School, Michigan. Like I said, I really wanted to get a Power T speaker on. And I kind of reached out to a couple different guys, like, who do you know? What do you think? And pretty much everybody I talked to directed me to Coach Stiegel. He is, again, the head football coach at Grandville High School, Michigan. He's going to talk Power T Counter Day. First, Coach, thank you for coming on. I do greatly appreciate it. And other than that, I think we're slightly ahead of schedule, which normally does not happen with clinics in general. Let's just be honest. But coach, I mean, you're free to start whenever you're ready. And like I said, you technically have as long as you want. Wait, I don't have audio. Try again. See, this is why I'm not. Try again.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now. You're good to go. So there you go. So coach, I appreciate you, and the floor is yours, sir.
All right. Hey, like I said, my name is Eric Stiegel. I'm the head football coach at Grandville High School, Grandville, Michigan. Been there 10 years, so going to my 11th season there. Before that, I was at Taylor Truman High School, which is no longer a high school anymore. That was south of Detroit, probably 25 minutes. Grandville is located, we're a southwest suburb of Grand Rapids, Michigan, so on the west side of the state, pretty close to Lake Michigan. We are about 1,800 kids, and we play Division I in Michigan, which is the largest classification in Michigan. With that, I do know this is kind of a national deal, but I know we have some Ohio people on here. I think we're heading to Columbus, Ohio, week 1 for us, week 2 for Ohio this year to play Pickerington North to open our season up. So excited about that. Know we're going to see some good football down there with that. So what I'm here to talk about today is Power T counter. With that, you can see my contact information is on the screen. With that, so if you guys want to email me, that's more than welcome to do that. Again, as we get questions, I don't know if those will pop up and I'll see them. If not, but I'm more than welcome, to just ask you guys ask questions, and I can do my best to get on that. So again, like I said, we are a Power T team. We're going to talk counter for us, which is 76 and 77. 70s dictate counter action in our backfield for us. We'll talk base adjustments with that counter too. So I'm going to start with the presentation, and then I'll get to some huddle film. We can detail some things. So how I like to, our playbook, we're saying this is really our playbook. We have this for each one of our schools. We'll have a slideshow essentially for us. And how I like to start off, both from a teaching standpoint to my players, my coaches, and if I'm going to speak at something like this is, not so much just all the rules that people have for our counter, but all right, what are the big things that we have to do to be successful in counter? And again, when if a coach says we're full house, that means we're 3 backs and a T, and we have 2 tight ends. We're in that almost all the time. Sometimes we'll break formation a little bit, but we are a true Power T system. It's not a goal line package. It's not a short yardage package. It's who we are. So, for me, the number one thing why I like counter is it has power attitude. Okay, with misdirection. We're a big power off tackle team. Okay, it's probably the number one play we run. All right, where we are gonna, it's powerful people. Okay. We're going to block down inside, look for vertical movement. We're going to look to get vertical movement and kick out the defensive end, bring a guard through, and most of the time too also bring another back. So we have like a double insert there per se, and we're going to try to outnumber you and overwhelm you with our off tackle game. So for us, it starts with being a great power team. And counter obviously gets the misdirection of power, so it's the counter off the play. But from a blocking standpoint, you're going to see that the front side blocking rules from our center to our tight end are identical. Okay, they're identical. We may have some, small things we'll talk to our kids about in terms of how the linebackers are going to fit it versus power with the misdirection, but the blocking rules and the techniques are the same. Okay. Also, we have similar adjustments and tags to our counter game as we do our power game, so it marries very well. For me, it's a day 1 install for us. Okay. We're gonna install power. We're gonna install our inside trap play and counter. Okay, installing. I personally recommend installing power and counter together because, to me, they're very similar with that. So I think one of the biggest things that we talk about being a key for this play is our backside guard kicking out. Okay, and for us, counter for us is the guard pulling and kicking out the end man, and the tight end, who's an online player, leading up on the play. So those are in the base scheme. Those are our two pullers. So that guard, all right, we want him tight to the line of scrimmage. Okay, we want him keying the near hip of the defender he's looking to kick out. Okay, And what we say is if that hip disappears, we're getting the team that wants to squeeze our tight end hard, or we get a hard spill player. All right, we got to look to get thick on that guy. And if we can't kick him out, we want to drive him vertical. We don't want to log him. We don't want to be soft. It could turn into a log, but we don't want to have a mentality that we're going to tell our kid that, hey, you can't kick him out and just try to log him. Because what we find with that is if that end spills the play and gets vertical, he's going to mess up the second puller. It's just going to kind of be a disaster for us. So we want to, ideally kick the end man out. But if we can't kick the end man out, we want to take him vertical. So I use that term. If that hip disappears, get thick on the guy. I mean, get a lot of your body service on him, and then let's just drive him. That tight end pulling. So it's a little bit harder for that tight end to pull than it would be like an H-back to pull, okay, or a Y off, because he's on the line of scrimmage at the end. He has to get off the line of scrimmage for his pull, all right, avoid, potentially some trash, and then have vision, okay? And naturally, because he's heading parallel with the line of scrimmage, he's going with it. A lot of times the kid's vision will naturally take him outside, okay? But what we tell our tight end on that pull is that you are trying to get the scrape linebacker, so an inside linebacker scraping over our blocks, like over a double team, all right, to an alley defender coming downhill into the alley. Could be a corner folding in, could be a safety coming down. That's who we want you to look for. So scrape linebacker getting over the top, okay, all right, to an alley player. And we're going to do as good a job as we can on not letting any linebackers come underneath our double teams. So, as a starting point, and that's not a hard set rule until we know how your linebackers are really playing. But if we went out there and we don't know what you're doing, we're going to have the inside guy come off on our double team. We're not going to read it. We're going to make sure we don't get an underneath run through from a Mike linebacker, a backside linebacker, or even a play side linebacker who might be lined up in the 30 or 40 coming straight downhill. We got to make sure we take care of that, because our tight end will not – it's a tough block for our tight end. We want him to be able to pick up a linebacker that gets over the top, okay, to someone coming into your alley. I think another reason, that I like this play, and it's a big key, is that you got to keep your halfback square. Okay, it's a little bit slower play than power for us. Okay, but it's similar footwork. But we want that halfback to be square. Okay, and our quarterback mechanics is, when you see film, you'll see that we want him to be able to get downhill so he can hit that play wherever it opens. It could be, in the C gap. It could be in the B gap. It could be squared. It could bounce it to the D gap. It could be in the A gap potentially. But if he's square downhill, okay, he's square to the line of scrimmage, he's got an opportunity to hit the play where it opens up, okay, and have vision to do so. Okay, just so we look at the blocking rules for us, and I'll describe these to you. Our play side tight ends rules the same as power is train. Train for us means you are on tracks inside. Okay, you're on tracks inside. That could be for a down. It could be for a down lineman. That could be for a linebacker. But you are on train tracks inside, and you have to maintain that. You can't be squeezed off that track. Okay, and you certainly can't let something cross underneath you on that track. Our play side tackle and play side guard, because GOB, they're gap on backer. Okay, pretty common rules right there for, with that. So gap on backer for us. Okay, center's on away. All right, he's going to block the man on him. If you've got a nose, he'll try to get play side leverage. If there's no one on him, his rule is to block back. Okay. We do have some adjustments. We will send our center to the second level. All right. That can also indicate some other things we're doing with the front side and back side of the play. Doesn't happen a lot, but there may be some instances when we do that. In the power game, we'll definitely send our center to the second level a lot. But on counter, where it takes a little bit longer, we have two pullers. We want to make sure we're sealing that backside up really good. Backside guard is to trap the first man past the tight end's block. Okay, that's, for us, that's how we define that as the end man. It's the first person outside the tight end's block. And we say it that way because in some of our adjustments, we will have our tight end block the end man on the line of scrimmage. If he's a hard squeeze player, maybe in a head up 6 technique or a really tight 7 technique, just trying to jam our tight end inside, we will have our tight end block that player. So now our guard is going to kick the next player past that block. Okay. Backside tackle, we call it a cut off, okay, or cut on. All right, so he's responsible for that that inside gap of the guard. Okay, and a lot of people might just call this like a hinge technique. For us, we call it a cut on, just some of our verbiage. But he's going to be responsible for making sure there's no run through. That if there's a 3 tech back there, that we're going to cut him. Okay, on that, the backside tight end has the alley pull. Okay, our halfbacks, again, we have power path. We want to bounce that fake out, and then we're going to counter away from it. Our fullback is going to be a backside player for us. So he's going to go and he's going to take a banana path and peel whatever comes off that outside our tackle. And again, for us, it's really good. A lot of people are going to read our fullback because he's a lead blocker in a lot of plays. So naturally, the counter play, if you're on our fullback, okay, it is going to take you opposite. Okay, so one of the things we pay attention to with all our plays, really, but in all our players is what are their linebackers doing? Okay, not just on counter per se, but counter is a great one to see. Are they cross-keyed? Are they near back? Counter is a play that usually lets us understand how their linebackers are reading, or are they reading guard? Because if they're just dead on right on the play, maybe they're a guard team now. Maybe that indicates that instead of running counter initially, we have to run some false scheme where we're going to pull opposite. We'll do some of those things as well with the play. And, the quarterback mechanics for us, like I think in any wing T system, even though we're power T, you got to have great feet. You have to be a great athlete, and you have to be a dedicated ball handler, with that, because we're kind of dealing cards back there a little bit, as you see when you get to the film on that. Okay, this is just some basic things blocked up, just some diagrams. With that, I don't think too much of these, because we get so many movement defenses. We don't do much static stuff. We're again, you can kind of illustrate here, though. You see our tight end training inside. Okay, you see a double team here working inside to make sure, whether it's the Mike coming down, backside linebacker stacked up coming inside. Okay, we want to make sure we don't get that. You see the fullback coming off the tackles block to pick up any kind of chasing defensive end or edge player. You're going to see too, again, our tight end here trying to work up to a straight backer that's coming over. He's over. This guy's already lined up necessarily over our tight end with that. Or again, would it be a safety, coming down? He's going to pick up that guy. Counter versus the even front. Again, for us, one of our rules for us generally is we generally try to double team the closest guy to the point of attack. So and then matchup dependent. So, for us, our guard is going to be solo on a nose, even if in a defensive tackle. I have them listed here as a nose. Could be a 2 tech, could be a 3 tech. If we feel like we can take them solo, we will. And we want to get big vertical movement here, right where we're running. And again, probably look to come up inside to make sure we don't get any downhill might come through or the will coming. Again, if this guy was coming through here, we would probably change our double team again, because I want to make sure no linebackers are coming underneath our play and are going to hit our running back for a negative play, cause a fumble, or whatnot with that. So again, some base blocking adjustments for us before, I'm almost ready to get the film and really see some of this stuff. Zone for us is a tag we use in both the power game and the counter game, and it just means our tight end is going to block on. Okay, just call it zone. Okay, he's going to block on. We're not necessarily telling him to take him, get outside leverage, inside leverage. We're telling him to try to drive the guy off the ball, create vertical movement. All right, we're going to do that, one, because potentially we just like our matchup. We think our tight end can really block your defensive end. 2, you're getting the end that is just not letting our tight end get inside. He's hanging him up. He's tackling him. He's just squeezing him down. That's his only job. And if that's his only job, we can't let a player whose only job is just to maul our tight end. We can't let that guy be successful. We have to make him play football and do some other things with that. So a zone tag for us, does that. Gecko for us, we'll run a lot in the counter scheme. G words for us mean our front side guard will pull. Okay, we do that on a few of our plays. Counter is a big one, especially if your linebackers are going opposite the play. You're keying our running backs, they're going opposite. Well, now we feel like we can get extra pullers to the play side because we're not worried about your linebacker coming underneath. We're thinking they're going opposite. So gecko for us means guard kick. Okay, guard kick. So now we call gecko on a 76 gecko. It tells our front side guard he's kicking. Now our backside guard pulls in the alley, and our tight end still pulls in the alley. Okay. If you make a home call, home means that the tight end is going to stay home on the backside and not pull. A lot of times we'll do that with double G's. So we'll go gecko, home, because maybe we can't pick up the chaser. So we're going to just sit there and we'll have our tight end protect the backside edge. Stay for us means the backside guard will stay on the play. Okay. So we could go gecko, stay. All right. With that. And again, we have some other power tags that we use with that. But, at the end of the day, we'll run zone quite a bit. But depending on the week, we may run all gecko. And I don't know if I have any film up here with that. I know this year we had more where we ran gecko and we ran gecko home. Just we were seeing some really good edge players, and we didn't want them chasing us down, with that. So, but for us, I think again, the verbiage we use within all our offense is all, we're always making sure it's tight together. So I don't want to have extra words for counter if it means the same thing in power. So again, zone, gecko, those words generally will transcribe across the whole offense. So if our kids hear those, they know what they mean with that. Or if the kids are even going to make a check up there, they know what it means. It's not a one-off type deal for us. Okay. Zone, again, I said our play side tight end is going to block on. Okay. He's going to block on. Our guard is going to kick the next guy. Okay. We see a lot of looks where we get like a 6 technique and then an edge player. So we feel like if we get that, that's a good time for us to call zone, because if we didn't, we might have if they decide to bring their edge player, okay, that corner there, and we kick out, we might be able to pick up that corner with their tight end pulling, but we also might be a guy short. Okay. You notice too here, I said this is for our, the double team now, especially if your linebackers are flowing opposite. Now we may try to work an Okie double team, which means our outside guy comes off. Or a scoop, which is it's more of like an outside zone double team, which we run outside zone as well for that. Gecko, as you see again, you're just getting a little drop 45 pull here by our play side guard. He kicks out the end. Our backside guard's wrapping. Okay, it's the same pull as power now, but we're also in a basic. If we just call 76 gecko, that means we're going to get 2 pullers into the alley. Okay. Now, for us to do that, we got to feel good about our matchups up here. We got to feel good that we can one-on-one you, and we got to feel good that we're not getting linebackers, attacking the line of scrimmage to the play side, coming underneath us. So with that, all right, I'm gonna flop over here to my. I need to.
So far, so good, Coach. Take your time. Like I said, everything's going well, and at least on my end. So
okay, good. That was going good. Can you see my my huddle screen right now?
Yep, I can see your huddle. You're in huddle. You're good to go. And
okay, good. So let me right here. So again, let's talk counter, getting some detail here. Okay. All right. So again, you see us as a tight T team right here. Okay. We play tight splits. Okay. I think that helps us take space away from the defensive backs. We're at 4.5 yards. Okay. And again, we're seeing again, we have 6 guys up on the line of scrimmage here. DBs are tight. You got linebackers here. So we're going to see a lot of stuff where we got, all 11 guys within 7 yards of the line of scrimmage. Maybe you got 10 guys within, 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. So I think there is it's a pressing nature for us that we know what we're doing blocking here to get this. All right. So again, we start off here again. We talk about our tight end. All right. He's going to train inside. We're going to look for that first double team. Okay. We're going to look to double team the first guy inside our tight end, inside the guy we're kicking. Okay. With that. All right. We kind of see the play here. Okay. Again, it starts with getting a good, like any with power here, you got to get movement at the point of attack. Okay. You got to get movement at the point of attack. You see our first puller here in the backside. He's coming. Now we want him to pull into the line of scrimmage. Don't get wide. Don't give him a chance to spill. Come, okay, get on the guy. I'd like to see his head be a little lower. Okay, get under him. But again, kind of does the job here. Center just kind of reached the play side. Backside tight end does a good job. Oh, then again, though, we got lucky on this one. As you see, we got a linebacker that came through right here. We should have 57 is late coming off his double team. Okay, 57's got to see that. Our tight end comes through, picks up. All right, picks up an alley defender. So we're talking here, we're tight here. Okay, this tight end coming through, no scrape linebacker, pick up somebody in the alley. Okay. Backside tackle's got to kind of cover his gap, stay on this guy. And really good path here by our backside tight end. So we look to the backfield. I think one of the key points for us in this play that we teach from a quarterback standpoint is you're going to watch the quarterback steps, and now it's this crossover right here. This crossover coming as he's going away opens up his hip and lets this halfback get downhill. It lets him be square. So if he's got to take that play, vertical right up through here, he could do it. But he's square so he can go in any direction he wants to on this play. Here it is again. Now we're going to more of a six-man look right here. Edge player coming up. They run a loop. And we pick up the edge. Pick up the edge, and the tight end comes through and gets a piece there, going for the alley defender. We pick up the linebacker right there. He comes into the wash. And again, like we have an inside double team here, which we're going Iggy. So we got a double team coming here. 57 picks him up that time. All right, and he goes. Okay. Now we got kind of the eagle front here. Linebackers are deep. They're out of the – we're getting some of our tight film here. Linebackers are out of the screen. They're deeper. We have double edge players here. Okay. Okay, again, good movement right here. Good movement at the point. We pick up the linebacker. The linebackers are both wrong right now. We pick them up. And then again, we get 57 pulling. He gets the kick, and the tight end does a great job picking up the next guy right here. I think, again, he does a great job on that. Because this corner folds in right now to the alley, okay, where we're running inside. He folds in right now. The tight end picks him up. All right, and now we get a chance. And he splits the backside, the safety there. Okay. So again, what we get in the backside again too is, again, for us, we want to solo the center here with the nose. We want the center to solo the nose. That means he's not blocking back versus eagle front. Okay. We're going to try to, with the tight splits we have, we think we can get our tackle with this guy. Okay. If he has to, he'll cut it. So you see the backside tackle gets in. I'd like to see him actually work his head across more, but he makes the block. Okay. Front side, we're good. Okay. But again, our backside tight end does a great job on this play, number 6. Just having vision, picking that guy up. And again, again, with our halfback here, you can see how he hits this square. I mean, he is hitting this thing. He is downhill. He is vertical through there, which just lets him go. Tight look. And same deal inside. We got the eagle front. Okay, we kind of have a little stat game here with this corner, outside linebacker. However, we'll probably call him a corner still, but he's kind of stacking here. Maybe they're going to play a game. Again, for the most part, our kids are playing on pass. We're not going to wait and see what happens. Our tight end, okay, we're going left here, and this. Okay, we get movement. We get a kick out right here. And then 6, this guy actually kind of outside fits it, which is good for us. So now 6 picks up the next guy right here, and it's hard to see. So 6 does a really good job again. So he's picking up right now. He's picking up the straight linebacker coming over the top. Get good movement, nothing coming inside. He picks up the straight linebacker, 28 vertical. All right, and does a good job. we do see, for us, one of the things, this is not good out of us right here. I can tell you that this isn't good. Well, you'd probably correct, but you see this side of the line here, this side of the line here. Well, you can probably tell who's pulling, right? It's not good. Something definitely, I know we look to correct with that. We see a lot of unique defenses, okay, which I do think works in our favor, okay? When I say that, I mean, you see right now, you got 5 down linemen, and you have 2 inside backers, and you got these guys stacked right here, okay? Now, from the perspective of an offensive coach, I think because I ran this offense for so long, I've kind of learned that, I'm not spending a lot of time at like how a defense is going to defend trips into the boundary or how they're going to defend tight end trips, how they're going to defend this motion. Okay. As a lot of offensive coaches are going to do. Okay. I mean, I'm going to look at that stuff because it may tell me things, but what I want to do as a coach is I really want to look at your personnel. Yeah. Because that tells me maybe how can you play us? Do you have 4 to 6 really good defensive linemen? You only have 2 good defensive linemen. How good are your DBs at tackling? Are you going to sub those guys out? So, obviously, as we play people in our conference, we get a feel for how they want to play us. But we're the only Power T team in Division I in the state. I think, I believe there might have been one other one that coach left. So we're not getting that. We do think that sometimes there's some other teams in Michigan that run this really well. That if something works against them, we can expect that. But, for us, we feel like we have to come out and we have to be ready to adapt to most things, okay? Because, we might see some crazy things, but sometimes crazy things, too, are not fundamental. And for us, I still feel it's an advantage at the end of the day if you're going to put your kids in spots where they're not used to playing, okay? I mean, they have not done that. This team has not done anything like this against anybody. Okay, so to do that, it's one, you're telling your kids right off the bat that your base defense is not good enough to play against us. I think number 2, you're putting them in spots where their reads change, their fits change, their responsibilities change, and I think that can become chaotic. So for us, very rarely do I just really bank on saying, hey, we're going to see this, and this is a solid. This is what we're going to see. I did that probably a few times earlier in my career, and I got burned. Try to be too specific to, what a team I think they're going to do based on something. I want our kids to get off the ball and get after people. Okay, and then we're pretty good at sorting things out in the game. Our offensive line is good in coming off the field and talking to me and saying, "Hey, coach, I think we should make this adjustment because this kid's doing this." And they're good at that, and it usually doesn't take them very long. They might be making a call up there, which they have freedom to do. That first series, if they see something, okay? So I give those guys a lot of leeway because I trust them to make adjustments on the fly out there, okay? So again, we've seen a weird defense here. Okay, they're going the wrong direction right now. All 3 of them go the wrong direction though, okay? So I'm guessing at least one of these guys is on the fullback, at least one. And then maybe they're cross-keyed. So maybe this initial step back fools him. But we get all the guys going the wrong way, so that's good for us. And again, as you see it draws up pretty perfectly right here then. Because if all your linebackers go the opposite way, that's a good play for us. Okay? Okay, in this case, too, what you see happen is, their defensive end is an offensive lineman. He's actually at Michigan State, but he's never played defense before except for us. So we kind of thought they might put him there, but you can tell he's not very comfortable. He's just backing up. He says, squeeze him. Well, he tackles our tight end and pancakes him, but now we're not blocking you. So our guard picks up the next guy, and our tight end comes through and picks up the alley defender. Okay? Picks up the alley defender. Pick him up. Now again, our back's vertical. Try to split that. Okay. Somewhat of a shaded, maybe we're shaded to the field here a little bit where we are, again, your nose is an odd look, but they're shaded to the field with that. Again, our tight end gets his butt kicked here, and that's not good. Okay. Again, That guy's this kid right here is so enamored about essentially just not letting our tight end go that he doesn't even see the ball. I probably still think we can block him, but he doesn't even see the ball. Okay, on that. And again, what I like is our guard 54 is working vertical. He gets around that trap, but he works vertical, inside leverage. Our tight end is tracking, working. You kind of see his hand there. He's feeling that. He can't be looking down. There's trash in here. If you look at how people play us, I mean, these guys just dive and roll on us right here. They're diving and rolling. So sometimes you get penetration. And it's a skill by this tight end to be able to navigate this, get around, I'll pick up, and he makes a great block. I'd like to see him stick out more. Makes a great block, though. Okay? And that's a heck of a play by that tight end right here. Because, again, he's got to navigate his feet. He's putting his hip down. He feels this right here. He comes around. He makes the block. 19 overfits it. All right, and we get a big run right here. Okay. Well, that is my film. So I kind of want to recap some things that got, for us. One, counter is a great play for us because it resembles power, both to the defense where they need to sell out, stop it, the direction of the ball, they think the ball's going, but it's also great for us because it keeps our blocking rules and assignments and our kids' techniques in check. Okay. It doesn't change. So generally, if we make an adjustment in the game for power, it's going to probably be there for counter as well. Okay. So the only difference really is we're going to see how the linebackers are fitting, with that. We're going to see how the linebackers are fitting. But, and from another level again, too, it is a play that it's a play that has been a big play for us. Again, it usually averages between 7 and 9 yards a play when I look back over the last 4 years. Certain years have been better. Power is usually between 5 and 6 for us. Some this year it might have been 6.4 power for us. So it has some big play potential as well, too. Okay. There's going to be weeks where we run it a ton. Okay. There's going to be weeks where we run counter more than power. Okay. And then there's going to be other weeks where we don't run a ton of it based on what you're reading and what you're keying. Okay. But it does give us a lot of information as well, because we're going to see, are you on guard? Are you on near back? Are you on fullback? Okay. Are you cross keying? Okay. So we're going to kind of see what you're doing there too. So it's a play that gives us information, but I still like to play because it's a physical play. Okay. It's still who we are. We're trying to get vertical movement off the line of scrimmage, be physical on the edge with our pullers, and be physical in the alley, with our tight end pulling up through. So, again, I don't know. Are there questions?
Yeah,
I don't think I can see them. But if there are questions, I'll be glad to answer some questions.
Yeah,
now.
actually, I'm leaving the chat open right now. There's been a lot of positive comments so far, but I do want to know, like, when you're installing this, and I know you've done it for a good long period at this point.
Yeah.
How are you progressing to it? Is there a lot of pod work with it? Is it a lot half line? Is it a lot of individual to group?
Yes.
How are you approaching the install, and whether it be counter or any of your power T stuff?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And, we want to make sure that all the drills and all our segments are reflected in, that they're building to, the full thing here, the full picture. With counter, we spend a lot of time in pods where we will have, we'll work guard tackle double teams and the tight ends working a train block. We'll work on tackle tight end double teams where our guards work in a solo block. We work those in conjunction, both half line with the running backs and also just half line, like with the offensive line, because I do think we can maximize reps with that. And, sometimes it's very specific to an opponent who we think we're going to get some things. So we want to practice the 2 to 3 looks we think we're going to get with that. But we do a ton of half line. We do a half line more for power and for outside zone and for trap because we don't need the backside tight end pulling. Half line for us, we will always have the backside guard in because we pull the guard a lot. But I think you can maximize reps. For us, again, we have bigger rosters, so we can have a right side of our line going with 3 running backs and a left side of our line going with 3 running backs. And we can run the play to the right, then run the play to the left. Run the play to the right, run the play to the left. Switch the backfield, switch the guards. so we can really maximize that. And what I like to do in those half line periods is I do feel, because like there's less guys, we can control the defense, and we're going to work a lot of the things that I don't want to necessarily work, like running team, because there's too many bodies. We're going to work a 7-tech crossing face of the tight end, trying to rip in the C gap. We're going to work backer blitzes. We're going to work loops and stunts, because we have to practice those. And those are things in half line. We're going to mix those in every week, probably regardless of opponent, because we feel like we have to be ready for people just, that are going to try to jump their defensive lines, pre-snap shift, slant, dive at us, with that. But tons of stuff we do in pods. Okay. A lot of times our tight ends are off by themselves with the tight ends coach. I coach our offensive line. The tight ends are with that group. When we say O-line, the tight ends are with that group, but we will separate a lot. The tight ends might be working reach blocks. They might be working inside train blocks to linebackers, and where we're working some double teams inside, or we're working inside movements, or we're working trap on the inside potentially. Our tight ends might be out working something else with that. But I do think that efficiency in practice helps us. But half line is something we're going to do at least once a week, usually twice a week, where we feel like we can get a lot of reps and get a lot of reps for our twos, during those periods. So it's the whole two backfield is getting as many reps as the one backfield, and we're going to sub in and out frequently during that half line period to get a lot of guys reps.
Okay. And then unless somebody pops up in our question here, one of the last questions that I got sent directly is, obviously you mentioned there that you don't really focus on, how do I word this? You focus more on personnel than anything. Yeah. Because again, with an under center offense nowadays, you're going to, and with you being foot to foot, you're going to see, who knows what you're going to see. How
exactly?
So, I mean, within practice throughout the week, are you trying to replicate that personnel with some of your other kids, or are you just throwing a bunch of different looks throughout practice? How are you approaching that aspect from a practice standpoint?
Yeah. Very, very good question. Again, I think, during our pod period or individual period, I think that's when I think we can be the most physical, because, we don't have to worry about, knocking a guy over into another guy and rolling up on his knee. We're physical in practice in a team session, but we can really work the matchups, good on good, tight ends. We can put guys across from our tight end when we don't have running backs and say, hey, you are tackling this tight end and not letting him go to a linebacker. Okay, do it. Okay, because we also got to work pass releases against that, because the defensive holding doesn't get called that much, unfortunately. So we have to work those things, personnel wise, more in a group or an individual period. When we get into the team periods, at different points of the year, it's a little different. But if I was going to tell you, during the week, we do want to have some periods where the offense is fairly comfortable in terms of, all right, we're not going to jump around that much. We're not going to slant, pre-snap shift, bring backers, because we do need to get, be able to work the timing and the rhythm of the offense. We have to. The backs are tight, everything. We are a rhythm-based speed offense. It happens fast. But we're also going to have periods in practice where they're scripted, and the scout team is very scripted. And we might have two scout groups, because that way we can have like an even front scout group, an odd front scout group where the personnel different. And we are going to work a lot of movement, pre-snap shifts. We're going to work a lot of blitzes. Some of it might be from what we've seen in previous years, but some of it might just be random to the fact of we need to be ready for things. And I think when you do that, what happens is, again, there's still only so many things you can do and be fundamentally sound. Okay. Our kids, rather than memorizing things, they start to see patterns and they start to connect with those guys next to them. They start to realize, like, hey, this guy's walked up in the C gap. If it happens late, I might not be able to make a call. I just got to take him. And the running back, the running back, based on his rules, is going to pick up the next guy, or whatnot. But we have to rep those in both individual periods. I think for our running backs too, we're working a lot of things on the edge, that tight end edge, where we're working a vertical kick out block. We call it it's not, we think we're gonna get guys that are hanging our tight ends trying to spill, but that can change. It could be that end who's in a 7-tech, which is outside shade of the tight end for us, he crashes hard inside. All right. Well, now you've got to stay vertical and you're going to pick up the next guy, whether that's a corner, a linebacker. We have to practice those scenarios so that, again, we can't take 2 drives in a game to figure out like, oh, this is what they're doing. Because if it's a good team, we might be done though. If we take a whole quarter to figure out like, oh, these guys are doing this, we're not ready for it. So we have to make sure that our kids are ready for it coming in, with that. And so it's always a unique prep for us. I mean, we are going to go into a game plan thinking someone's going to run these 2 things, and we might hit those 75% of the time in practice. But the other 25% of the time, there's going to be some randomness to it because we got to make sure that our kids are ready to adjust. And I never want them going out there going, oh, man, we didn't practice against this. What are we going to do? I want them going out there saying, hey, we're going to figure it out. We're problem solvers. And, the first way we try to problem solve is with a sledgehammer. And, we're just going to try to hit you. And we'll work out the kinks in the armor, and the details as the game goes on. But we can't get slowed down.
Okay. Well, coaches, if you need to get a hold of Coach, you can get a hold of him on Twitter at STIEGEE. And then, like I said, we've had over 450 coaches sign it, log on. However do you want to say, jump on and off over the past 5 sessions. So it's been a great turnout. We will continue part 2 of the clinic with another 5 or 6 speakers. I can't remember how many, at 6 p.m. Eastern. I would like to thank all 5 of our speakers, including Coach Stiegel, for coming on. I mean, it's been great. I think great topics so far. Across the board. Coach, thank you. And then everybody, again, if you want to watch part 2, that'll pop up at about, I'll probably open the live stream about 5:45, 5:50 Eastern time, and we'll start promptly at 6 Eastern. Coach, thank you again. And then thank you to everybody who's watched, listened, and all that stuff so far.
All right. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.